The skies here in Ohio have been fighting to clear all day, and we are going to have baseball tonight. It was highly questionable just a couple of hours ago, but tonight it's the Red Sox and the Indians in the second game of the season. The Red Sox coming off a near-perfect opening day performance. Hi, everybody. Great to have you with us. I'm Dave O'Brien alongside the Red Sox Hall of Famer Jerry Remy. And Remdog, yesterday, David Price was outstanding. 10 strikeouts. As a staff, the Red Sox with 15 Ks in the book. So the ball tonight goes to Clay Buchholz. Hey, go ahead and go get him tonight. Try to repeat that.
Exactly right. And, Clay Buchholz, all he has to do is stay healthy. I mean, this pitching staff really revolves around David Price and then Clay Buchholz, and they have to have a healthy season out of him. John Farrell feels like if Buchholz can stay healthy for a whole season, make 30 starts, that he can put up numbers comparable to David Price. That's what the manager feels. And we've seen in years that he has pitched very well and stayed healthy. He's been certainly an ace-type pitcher. So you get back-to-back performances from Price and Buchholz all season long. That's very impressive. But he's got to stay healthy. Only 18 starts last year. One positive thing for Buchholz in Cleveland, he's always pitched very, very well. ERA well under 3 here.
He had that run last year right before the elbow strain. We didn't see him after July 11th. But leading up to that, 11 starts and ERA just over 2. It's just another tantalizing reminder how good he can be.
Oh, he can be terrific. I mean, he's got all the pitches. He's got a nasty two-seam fastball, that cut fastball that he throws. He's got a curveball, excellent changeup. He's got all the stuff to be an ace of a pitching staff. The problem is he has to stay healthy.
That's right. 6 consecutive years, at least one stay on the disabled list every one of those seasons. So Clay is on the mound tonight. The first pitch is going to be pushed back about 15 minutes because of the forecast. But again, it's been battling all day. We're in good shape for baseball tonight. The Red Sox and the Indians right around the corner. By BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Dunkin' Donuts, America runs on Dunkin'. By high-quality Scion vehicles from Toyota. By DraftKings, the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of your Boston Red Sox. By Subaru Retailers of New England, supplying award-winning all-wheel drive vehicles throughout New England. And by Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Boy, the forecast has really gotten pretty good over the last couple of hours. They were on the verge of maybe playing a doubleheader tomorrow, but because the skies have cleared, it looks very, very promising for tonight's game. Dave O'Brien back with you here at Progressive. Yesterday, Mookie Betts had another one of those electrifying opening days. Seems like every day is that way for the energetic new Red Sox right fielder, no longer a center fielder. And for more on his story, let's go down to Garen Austin.
Thanks, Opie. A fantastic start to the season for Mookie Betts with a home run and an incredible defensive play. After the game, David Ortiz called him a superstar, said he's got that swag and he's what the game needs right now. Here's what manager John Farrell had to say about Betts and what he expects to see from him this season.
He's turning into one of the better players in all of baseball. You watch the lightning bat speed, you watch his athleticism in the outfield. The thing that we really get a feel for is the way he talks about opposing pitchers attacking him and what he's doing in response to that, it's pretty awesome to see a young guy really evolving into a good major league hitter, and that's picking out sequences, sitting on certain types of pitches to create some damage. We saw it more frequently in spring training, and it's just fun to watch a young guy come into his own. Roughly 3 years' time, he's played 3 different positions, and I think it speaks to his aptitude, his intelligence, and overall his athleticism. So, that play he makes yesterday is a unique one, but his reads and routes in right field have become much more consistent and accurate. It's a testament to his wherewithal on a baseball field.
Yeah, indeed. He looks like he's been playing right field for years, also a center fielder and second baseman. The sky is the limit for Mookie Betts, and the first pitch is right around the corner here from Progressive Field. Baseball on Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Red Sox and the Indians, second game of the season. Red Sox hitting all the right notes in their 116th season opener yesterday. A 6-2 victory. They got to the Indians ace Corey Kluber for 9 hits, 4 runs in 5 1/3. They'll try and do it against the number 2 starter for the Tribe, the right-hander Carlos Carrasco, and up against Clay Buchholz. And as Jerry mentioned, health, well, that is his watchword all season long. Trying to get to that 200 inning mark, which he's never done. Trying to get to that 32 start achievement, which would be huge for him.
It will, Dave. And, you know, we all know the type of ability that Buchholz has. We've seen it in the past. But the problem has been the number of injuries that he has suffered throughout the years that has kept him off the mound. And, you know, I was talking to John Farrell about this right at the tail end of spring training, and he was talking about Buchholz and saying, you know, if we get 30 starts out of Clay, he has the potential to put the same type of numbers as David Price. Now, that's high praise. But that's the whole key, getting the 30 starts out of him. And that's exactly what the Red Sox are hoping for, because if that happens, they've got a very strong 1-2 combination at the top of the rotation.
Well, you go back to 2010. Remember, he won 17 games that season. 2013, he got off to that 12-1 start, which was very important for the Red Sox that year to get out of the gate behind a guy pitching like that.
Exactly. And, you know, he's pitching in a ballpark tonight that he's had very good success in. He's had an ERA well under 3 in this ballpark in the starts that he's made. So, you know, we had kind of the same thing yesterday with David Price. He's had success here, so has Buchholz. We'll see if it carries over into tonight.
David Price with 10 strikeouts, at times dominant. The Red Sox with 15 Ks as a staff. David Price yesterday just outstanding. He had a couple of innings where his command deserted him somewhat, but for him, that's a different level, because if he scuffles a little bit, he's still really good.
Well, the thing that impressed me about Price yesterday, he had the one inning where I believe he threw 33 pitches in that inning and was able to bounce back from that and get right back on target. He 103 total on the day, as you can see, in the 6 innings with the 10 strikeouts. But, you know, he showed yesterday what an ace is all about. You know, you have the one bad inning. A lot of guys would crumble after that. He did not. He continued to pitch well. And, of course, the Red Sox won the game.
Well, finally, the Cleveland Indians are taking the field. It's a bit of a puzzle as to why they waited, but here's the Sox lineup, brought to you by BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. Mookie Betts will lead it off in right. Dustin Pedroia at second base. Xander Bogaerts at short. David Ortiz, the DH, a big bomb yesterday. Hanley Ramirez at first base with Travis Shaw at third. Brock Holt back in left. Blake Swihart doing the catching. And Jackie Bradley Jr. is in center and batting ninth against Carrasco. He was 14-12 a season ago with a .363 earned run average. The number 2 starter, right-hander, one of the best control artists in all of baseball last year. He was 5th in the majors in fewest walks per 9 innings, a little more than 1 walk per start. So he's going to throw strikes. You know that going in.
The Indians defense is brought to you by DraftKings, and they made one error in the ball game yesterday. Juan Uribe will be at third base. Francisco Lindor, the shortstop. Jason Kipnis at second, and Mike Napoli, the first baseman. Left to right, Jose Ramirez, Tyler Naquin, and Marlon Byrd, and Yan Gomes doing the catching for the Indians.
Tonight's umpires are brought to you by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-backed Toyota certified used vehicle right now. Bill Welke, the veteran, will have the balls and strikes. Vic Carapaz at first. DJ Rayburn at second. John Hirschbeck had the plate last night. There was a lot of talk about his strike zone. I think the Red Sox liked it just fine.
It was big.
We're available. This telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your TV remote. SAP presented by ToyotaCertified.com. Search for your factory-backed Toyota certified vehicle right now.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Jerry, it's up to 58 balmy degrees in Cleveland, although the forecast is for a chance of rain. You know, most of the day it was 90% chance of rain.
I got to tell you, this has been one of the strangest days at the ballpark. We were not going to play, then we were maybe going to play, and then they were going to decide at 5 o'clock. And, well, here we go. We are playing.
And Carrasco always works from the stretch to deliver to Mookie Betts, coming off a terrific opening day, and it's inside ball 1. We were told that about 5 o'clock they were going to meet and decide to probably play a doubleheader tomorrow.
Right.
And then the weather improved. And the skies calmed down, at least for now. That's pounded in for a strike. Mookie with a home run yesterday to get the Red Sox offense going.
Once again, they left the pitch inside. The Betts right there, and he turned on it very quickly to take it out of the ballpark for the home run. 2-run shot to Betts.
2 for 5. That superb catch in right as well. Inside, and that one spun him around and nearly hit Mookie.
Carrasco maybe trying to send a message to Betts. Look, if you're going to go inside, you've got to go way inside against him. You can't leave it out over the plate. And that time they do try to move him off the plate by taking that fastball way off the inside corner.
Here's Kluber, who took the loss yesterday. Wasn't real happy about his performance either. Big cut and a miss. That was a home run swing. They asked Kluber later in the postgame, what was your opinion of your performance? And he said, what did you think of it? They said, well, we want your opinion. And he said, I'm not here to give my opinion.
So not very happy on opening day.
Red Sox winning 6-2. Here's the 2-2. He got him. Big swing and a miss. Carrasco can throw hard. He can get it up there to 96, 97.
Yeah, a 3-pitch assortment for Carrasco. The fastball that'll reach 96, 97. This one, last one at 96. He's got the slider, and he's also got a very good changeup. He has not started a game against the Red Sox since back in 2011.
I think his career might look a lot different right now at the age of 29. Had he not essentially lost 2012 and 13 coming back from Tommy John. Here's Dustin Pedroia now. Petey was 0 for 4 on opening day. The first hitless opener for him. Although he was on base with a walk when Big Papi belted his 2-run homer in the 9th inning. He's bringing it 95 high in the zone. He's got that 4-seamer and the 2-seamer.
Yeah, elevated fastballs so far from Carrasco. There you see the breakdown, 56% fastballs, that slider at 24%, and a lot of changeups.
He can be prone to the fold-up inning or the big inning. That has dogged him in the past. High flying to right field, well hit. Bird on the run, still running, and he can't get it out of the warning track, and that's going to skip over the yellow line, and that'll be an automatic double. So the first hit of the season for Dustin Pedroia, 2 bases to right field here in Cleveland.
Now Pedroia, 2 for 6 in the game against Carrasco coming in, and he making 3 for 7 now as he gets a pitch that's inside, and I believe he was a little bit late in the swing, but he's still able to drive that ball a long way to the opposite field. It's going to bounce, roll around a little bit at the top of the fence, and go into the stands for the ground rule double.
19 doubles last season. Again, that's in just 93 games. The wind is blowing out from time to time tonight. So watch for some carry, particularly there to right center. Now Xander Bogaerts, a chance for the Red Sox to strike immediately and drive in Pedroia. Check swing, and it's inside. They do appeal, and no swing, says Carapazza.
There's that 2-seam fastball you were talking about, Dave. That had a lot of movement going back in to Xander Bogaerts. Take a look from the side at that last swing, and I don't think it was a swing.
Carapazza agreed. Xander 0 for 5 on opening day. He went on that one, and he wore a whimsical smile after he was called out on a non-strike 3 in the 9th inning. It was not a strike. It really wasn't that close.
John Hirschbeck yesterday had one of the largest strike zones I think you'll ever see in a major league game.
He was cold. He was freezing like everybody else out there. He wanted to get inside. Got a piece of it and flicked it foul. A ball, 2 strikes on Xander. David Ortiz on deck. Red Sox got on the board yesterday on the home run by Mookie Betts. And trying to score first again here tonight. Red Sox, by the way, have now won 6 of their last 9 road season openers that they've played. So for all the complaints about opening up in Cleveland, it worked out eventually pretty well, although a day late. I would say darn well yesterday. One out, Pedroia leading. And that one dips downstairs, 2-2.
After a couple of those two-seam fastballs inside, last couple of pitches breaking balls away from Bogaerts.
Carrasco, big guy at 6'4", 212 from Venezuela. And a 2-2 to Bogaerts. Flicks that one foul. The Sox arrived here in Cleveland on Saturday and will not depart until Thursday night for Toronto. So we've been here a while. Jerry put a deposit down on an apartment yesterday in downtown Cleveland.
I'll tell you what, it feels like we've been here a long time, and the weather has not been good. And tomorrow it's supposed to be really bad also.
We're hearing about snow showers tomorrow and maybe accumulation of up to an inch. Pedroia edging off second, the 2-2. Down low again. Now here's that smile we were talking about. Not just because we love Xander's smile, but that was seen on the face of more than one hitter yesterday.
Yeah, and that's basically all you can do in those situations right there. I mean, there were some calls yesterday. Travis Shaw had one also, and there were plenty on the other side. Mike Napoli.
Napoli 3 times thought that the pitch was outside. The 3-2. Poke foul again. Long at bat here for Xander. John Hirschbeck's a very good umpire. Yesterday he had a wide zone, and I think to the credit of David Price and the Red Sox pitchers, they took advantage of that by pounding on the outside. Price certainly did. The Red Sox with 15 strikeouts as a staff, the most on an opening day by a Red Sox pitching staff since 1913. 3-2. Check swing high, and that is ball 4. He did appeal. Carapazza gave the safe sign, no swing, first and second, and here comes David Ortiz.
That's exactly what the Red Sox want, to get started early. You know, get runs early in the ball game, because the Indians' offense is not that terrific. So if you can get a lead on them, you've got a huge advantage for the remainder of the ball game.
Big Papi with a big swat yesterday on opening day.
And Ortiz getting a pitch down and in and taking it out of the ballpark for his first home run of the season. One of the best swings he's put on a baseball all spring as far as pulling the ball.
A big star from the Dominican Republic getting in for the first time tonight, and he can do some damage right away. David hit 178 in spring training with 1 home run. He said after his home run and his double on opening day, when the lights go on, Papi goes on. The 1-0. Little blooper into left field, and coming on Ramirez, and the runners will hold. 2 down. So Carrasco gets a big out, but he's not out of it yet, because here comes Hanley Ramirez. Hanley was on base 3 times in yesterday's win. 2 singles, a walk and a run. Should have had a double in the 9th on a shot off the right field wall, which it looked like he thought was gone.
Never anticipate a home run until it gets out of the ballpark. That could have been a double for Hanley in that situation. Instead, he had to stop at first base, thinking that he might have had a home run.
But otherwise, had a very productive day. Pedroia at second base, Bogaerts at first base with 2 down here in the first inning. In tight for a ball. Assuming all of the games are played, the Red Sox with 4 games left on the trip after tonight, with 3 in Toronto starting Friday at 7 o'clock. That'll be Toronto's home opener. So they will have a gigantic overflow crowd at Rogers Center. The 1-0. He checked. 2-0.
A lot of these fastballs have been elevated here early in the ball game by Carrasco. Having a kind of a tough time getting the ball down. It's the Red Sox credit, they have not chased the high fastball.
Hanley with 19 home runs last season, 10 of those in April. He takes just off the outside. That was a terrific take by Hanley.
It certainly was, and yesterday that ball's a strike, not today. Fastball to the outside part of the plate on a count that has the favor on. You're looking for a ball middle in. You don't want to swing at a pitch on the outside part of the plate.
Travis Shaw next. Bill Welke says it's 58 degrees. That's a ball. 3-0. Oh, he went for it, and a hot shot. Carrasco comes away with it. That was on a 3-0 pitch, and he stole a single from Hanley Ramirez in an RBI. No score after a half inning. First inning, and Carrasco made a heck of a play there on a sharp chopper right back up the middle.
Yeah, fortunately for him, it was a high bounce, and he had a chance to get a glove on it. I mean, any play back to the pitcher is very difficult because it's so close, but it's always an advantage when you get a high bounce.
So Clay Buchholz to deliver his first pitch on the new season to Francisco Lindor, and that is outside ball one. Clay 7-7 a year ago with a 3.26 ERA. He was last year's opening day starter, but this year trying to follow what David Price did yesterday afternoon and beat Cleveland. Across for a called strike.
The two-seam fastball there from Clay, down and away from Lindor.
The 1-1 to the switch hitter. Outside, the Red Sox starting pitcher presented by your New England Audi dealers. Clay now 31 years old. 6'3", 190 pounds. Jose Ramirez on deck, and then Jason Kipnis for the Indians. No score first inning. That one disappeared.
That's a cut fastball from Buchholz. He's thrown just about everything so far. The two-seam fastball, the changeup, cut fastball down and in.
Blake Swihart getting the catch here tonight for game 2. Here's the 2-2 home. Ball 3. Lindor from Puerto Rico, former first-round draft pick. They think he could be a Gold Glove at shortstop here in Cleveland. He's that good. 3-2 waved at and missed. Down he goes. The Indians lineup brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. After Lindor, it'll be Ramirez and then Kipnis. Mike Napoli is at first base. Carlos Santana the DH. Yan Gomes the catcher. Marlon Byrd in right field with Jose Uribe at third base, and Tyler Naquin is the center fielder. A rookie, made his major league debut yesterday. He's batting ninth. And now Ramirez, as he lays off a strike, hit .219, 6 home runs last year. He could really run. And the 0-1 from Clay. Up the middle for a base hit. So Ramirez is on with one away in front of Kipnis.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. No errors in the ball game yesterday. Travis Shaw will be at third base. Xander Bogaerts the shortstop. Dustin Pedroia at second. Hanley Ramirez the first baseman. Left to right, Brock Holt, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, and Blake Swihart doing the catching for Clay Buchholz.
Ramirez is a threat to run, so keep an eye on that. Kipnis will be up there on the left side. Hit .303 last year with 9 home runs. He is 2 for 4 career against Clay. And Mike Napoli, the on-deck hitter. Runner holding on the first one. That's across for strike.
That's probably one you wish you had run on, because that was the slow curveball from Buchholz. I think Francona is going to have to push the envelope with these guys that can run a little bit to try to create some offense throughout this lineup.
And particularly without Michael Brantley, who's their best player, their best offensive player, out with that shoulder injury. They are going to be a bit run starved, and back in he goes. Brantley looking on, all smiles right now, but trying to make his way back to full health. They're hoping in about 10 days. Kipnis the batter. Another throw over for Ramirez, but he dives in safely.
That's one thing about Buchholz. As you know, he will make plenty of throws to first base on guys that can run and guys that don't run very well.
Last year, he did not pitch for the Red Sox after the 11th of July because of a strained elbow. A check swing and a high one. Third base umpire Hirschbeck says no swing. However, it gets a bit lost that when he was on the mound for 18 starts, he pitched well.
Pitched very well. And, you know, we were talking about him throwing to the bases a lot. He only allowed last year 2 stolen bases against him.
Fouled, and that one straight back off the umpire. I got that left arm of Bill Welke. Tough way to make a living sometimes back there. He says he's okay. The count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Clay very, very deliberate. Into the dirt. Nice stop by Swihart.
Beautiful job there by Swihart. He got the changeup from Buchholz, and of course when you get a changeup, you expect it to be down and maybe in the dirt. And Swihart, even though he was expecting it outside, had time to go to his right, get down, and actually slide over and catch the ball.
Ramirez digging out his lead. At first, still holding, and there's a high shot into right center. That's a gapper. That's going to be onto the track, up against the wall. Ramirez into third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate, and will not be in time. He scores standing up. That'll be a double for Kipnis, and it's 1-0 Cleveland.
Now Kipnis came into the game a 2 for 4 career hitter against Buchholz. He works the fastball, a 2-seam fastball going away from Kipnis, but he's able to hook the ball and find that big gap in right center field. By the time the Red Sox track it down and get it into the cutoff man, the run will score without a problem. You mentioned the good speed of Ramirez.
So he scores all the way from first base. The double for Kipnis, his first RBI of the season. 43 last year. And sends up Mike Napoli. He's 4 for 12 with a home run against his former teammate Clay Buchholz. He starts him with a breaking ball for ball 1. Napoli woke up shaking his head in disbelief this morning. He was rung up 3 times on called third strikes by John Hirschbeck, and all 3 certainly looked like a ball. One ending that epic 11-pitch battle with David Price. Fastball misses.
Well, you know, the common thing to say is that, well, if you know he's going to be calling pitches off the plate, you've got to swing at him. But the fact is, a lot of the pitches were unhittable that pitches were throwing in the ball game yesterday. And all these pitches to Napoli are just nasty, just off the outside edge.
David Price kept going there and getting good results. The 2-0. That drops down and away.
I mean, already tonight, you know, you can see the difference in the strike zone from this home plate umpire, Welke, from Hirschbeck yesterday. Much tighter.
Kipnis at second base, 1 down, 1-0 Cleveland in the first inning. And a called strike. And 90 right on the edge on Mike Napoli. John Adams banging on the drum here in Cleveland, looking for more offense. Here's the 3-1. And he walked him. So a choppy start for Buchholz. After striking out the leadoff man Lindor, single, double, and now ball 4. Still only 1 out, 2 on. And Carlos Santana, as selective as they get, about to dig in. He's just not going to chase it very often if it's not a strike. .231, 19 home runs last year. Santana, a huge Victor Martinez fan ever since he was a little kid. That's why he wears number 41, a tribute to Victor, who of course was, however briefly, a member of the Red Sox. And that's ball 1.
Well, man, in scoring position, but the Red Sox do go into the shift in the infield. They have Bogaerts playing almost directly behind second base. You see where Pedroia is. And it'd be Bogaerts. If it was a ground ball to Shaw at third, it'd be Bogaerts probably turning the double play from Shaw.
Buchholz looking to get that twin killing, but he's got to throw a strike. And he's fallen behind 2-0 on Santana. And Swihart to visit the hill.
Yeah, ever since the base hit by Kipnis, it looks like Clay's have been nibbling a little bit, trying to hit the perfect pitch on the corners.
He had several spring outings that looked just like this. Last year, like 14 first inning runs in 18 starts. One thing he did very well, and of course he was injured come July, but he kept the ball in the ballpark in those 18 starts. He only gave up 6 homers. Santana is a threat to leave the ballpark. But that is ball 3. One more like that, and they're going to be all loaded up.
Yeah, and Santana may have the green light here.
Yan Gomes is on deck. Runners leading at first and second, and the 3-0 in there for a called strike. He was taking all the way. Santana yesterday in the opener was 1 for 3 with a single. Kipnis at second, Napoli at first. Of course, Mike, a very good base runner. The 3-1. High fly ball deep to center. Jackie Bradley to the track, turning around. He'll watch it go. Santana with a 3-run homer. And an ugly start to the night for Clay Buchholz. Just like that, 4-0.
Now Santana taking 3-0 on a pitch that was right down the middle, and then he gets a pitch that's a little bit toward the outside part of the plate. You see the fastball from Buchholz, but look at him hook this ball. And this ball's on the outside corner and still hooks it. Plate coverage, hooking it out of the ballpark for the home run. That's a pretty impressive power right there to take that kind of pitch, be able to pull it that far for the home run.
And that makes it 4-0 Indians in the first inning. A strike called on Gomes. It started with a base hit by Ramirez. The Buchholz has been all over the place. Here's the 0-1. High fly to right. Plenty of time for Mookie Betts to get underneath that. 2 down. So here comes Marlon Byrd, the right fielder, already the 7th man to hit in the first inning. 247 with 23 homers, 73 RBIs a season ago. 0 for 2 yesterday with a pair of strikeouts. And he lashes that one foul. So Red Sox already in a hole here. They're going to have to battle from behind tonight, right from the get-go. Bird with good power as well. And the 0-1 pitch. This is a free swinging group of Cleveland Indians. They should hit a lot of homers.
Yeah, they've got some power on that team, but I don't know how consistently, throughout the season they're going to be able to keep that line moving through this lineup. They are in the first inning here.
And the 0-2 to Bird, to the dirt. Carlos Santana with his first home run of the season and made it count for 3 runs. The 1-2 to Bird. Broken back ground ball rolled right there to the feet of Travis Shaw, and that will retire the side. But 7 Indians bat, 4 of them score, and it's 4-0 Cleveland. The best seats, price, and benefits Fenway Park has to offer. For information on becoming a season ticket holder, please visit RedSox.com/season tickets or call 877-Red Sox 9 today. The Indians knock it around. Clay Buchholz to the tune of 4 runs in the first inning. As mentioned, he only allowed 6 home runs last season in 18 starts. He gives up a shot right away here in his season debut. So Travis Shaw will lead it off here against Carrasco into the second inning. He was part of the Sox attack yesterday. They got 6 runs off one of the best in the American League in Kluber, as he went 2 for 5. Kind of an odd day though, because he also struck out 3 times. There's a base hit into left field. Ramirez to chase it near the line, and Travis will be content with a single, so he's at it again. Let's go down to Garen Austin. Good evening, Garen.
Hey, thanks, OB. Here are a few quick injury updates for you. Eduardo Rodriguez threw another BP today, and right now he is scheduled to throw in a simulated game situation on Sunday in Fort Myers. Also, Carson Smith continues to throw on flat ground, and this week he's in a throwing program to get him up to 120 feet. Farrell said that once he's able to do that, guys, that'll be the indication that he's able to get back on the mound.
Garrett, thank you very much. We talked about Carson Smith. Obviously a big hole in the Red Sox bullpen. It didn't show up yesterday because the bullpen performed so well, and particularly Tazawa. Kimbrel at the end was throwing nothing but 95, 97 mile-an-hour fastballs.
Yeah, I think you got to be impressed when you see Carson Smith. I know we were impressed seeing him last year with the Seattle Mariners. He's got a heavy sinker, a very good slider. Unfortunately, not available to the Red Sox at this point.
Brock Holt 2 for 5 with an RBI single yesterday. Lays off up and away for a ball. Hit 280 a season ago. And talking about Carrasco coming back from Tommy John and missing almost 2 seasons at the big league level. Last spring it was a heart condition that put a scare into him. He said it was a little bit scary, but in 2014 he actually underwent a non-invasive surgery to correct a racing heartbeat. His heartbeat would climb to about 120 beats per minute when he pitched. Right now he takes daily medication to control it. But at his age, only 29, very frightening. And that one up high for a ball. That moves the count to 3-1.
And Brock Holt being very selective in this at bat, not swinging at very close pitches that are just out of the strike zone.
Blake Swihart on deck here in the top half of the second inning. Down the line, but foul. Sox with the home opener coming up next Monday at Fenway, 2:05 against the Baltimore Orioles, and the Red Sox are home for 10 games on the very first homestand. And the 3-2. Lifted foul down the line and out of play. Well, the 2016 Red Sox season is underway. Be sure to download the Sox schedule directly into your favorite desktop, web, or mobile calendar program. Visit NESN.com/schedule and download today. Well, it did not take long for the new slide rule to come into effect and decide a game, did it?
Well, that was unbelievable last night. The Tampa-Toronto game ending on that rule, and we can get into that a little bit as the game goes on.
3-2 pitch and a high fly ball. He jacked that one deep to right. Bird is back, tracking Wall, turning. It's out of here. How about Brock Holt putting a charge into it and getting the Red Sox right back in it with a 2-run homer. That'll make it 4-2.
That's what the Red Sox had to do. You know, it was a very ugly first inning for Clay Buchholz and fell down by 4 runs. But Holt gets him back in the ball game very quickly. 3-2 count. They want to go inside with the fastball, stays out over the plate, and this time Holt's able to hook it. You know, he was late on a 3-1 fastball, fouling it off to the left side. Not late that time.
No, sir. So the Red Sox cut that lead right in half, and here's Swihart, 274, 5 homers last year. Switch hitting catcher taking outside for a ball. Speedway, proud to be New England's first choice for value and convenience. For every Red Sox homer this season, Speedway donates $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Stop by a Speedway store near you, pick up your Speedway rewards card, and start earning your points today.
Now, Dave, you look at the 2 guys that have been inserted into the starting lineup, Shaw and Holt, and they've been off to a very, very good start. Both guys yesterday and again here tonight.
Yeah, both with 2 hits yesterday. Nobody out in the 2-0. fouled in the air. We have got to find a way, and you should do this using your Hollywood connections, because I know you have a lot of them, to get Brock Holt together with Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Finally and at last, side by side, because they bear such a strong resemblance.
Well, Matt's a big Red Sox fan, and I'm sure there's going to be a time during the season that he'll be at Fenway Park, and that's a going to happen kind of situation.
Well, what I want to know is, are you going to make it happen, Rem Dog? You're a Red Sox Hall of Famer, 29 years in the booth. You know both of these guys. You can make it happen.
Well, if Matt's listening tonight, if he's watching the ball game, I mean, please respond to us and let us know if you're going to be at Fenway Park. If he's not,
3-1 hammered foul.
His buddy Ben can tell him, because I know Ben's probably watching, and he could tell him to contact us. But that's a must. It's a must happen. It has to happen.
It didn't happen last year. Matt's aware of it, that people talk about the comparison, which is very flattering, I think, for Matt Damon. Three-two pitch. Back to the net on a foul ball. Blake celebrating a birthday just a couple of days ago. The day before what was supposed to be the original opening day, as he turned 24 years old. Here's the 3-2. There's a shot to dead away center. Naquin back all the way to the base of the fence, and he makes the catch. Well, I'll tell you what, the baseball is carrying to right center, and center field.
Yeah, much different than yesterday's game, where the wind was blowing in another direction. This time it's blowing out, as you can see, toward that right center field area, and this ball carried a long way to center field. Looked like it might have had a chance, but Naquin's able to go back right to the wall and pick it off the wall for the out.
One of their top prospects getting his first start. And Swihart with a gorgeous swing. Just a little short. Now Jackie Bradley. Only one out, 2 runs in on a home run by Brock Holt. And in there for a strike. The shift on for Jackie here with 3 men stacked on the right side.
He's got that whole area at shortstop right now wide open. The third baseman in on the grass against a possible bunt.
And it's Uribe all by himself near third base.
Now with 2 strikes, he'll drop back, obviously, and move over toward shortstop.
Bradley in the hole. He tried to check, but it's in there anyway for strike 3. So he'll take a seat. 2 down. Follow Red Sox baseball live with MLB.com at bat. Stay up to the moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, stats, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball, on your smartphone and tablet today. Mookie Betts, his second trip to the plate tonight. He is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He's becoming Mr. Opening Day. 2 for 4 with a home run last year against the Phillies. 2 for 5 with a 2-run homer yesterday. Remember, in that home opener at Fenway last year, he robbed Bryce Harper of a home run. He stole second and third on the same play when he came up to bat later, and blasted a 3-run homer in one game.
And he got a message back in the first at bat tonight when he got a fastball that was up and in. They know how quick Betts is inside, and they know that they've got to come way in to get him off the plate.
Carrasco works from the stretch at all times. Shot to center field. Naquin lines that one up and makes the catch. Some excellent swings by the Sox. Brock Holt had the best one. It's now 4-2. groundskeeper chatting with the umpires. Again, in the forecast tonight, even though this game began only about 15 minutes late, it was not raining at the time of the scheduled first pitch, nor at 6:20. There is rain in the forecast, and in fact, earlier today was really nasty looking. It's worse for tomorrow, unfortunately. So they were very, very eager to get this game in. Both teams were. Right now, it looks like they're not too nervous, but the forecast does have showers in it for later tonight. Red Sox jump right back in it on a hold homer. It's now 4-2 Cleveland. Here's Uribe leading off with a high bounder to short. Bogarts will pick that and get him on one pitch. You can try W.B. Mason's coffee service featuring the Keurig coffee system with Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup pods. Order by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Who but W.B. Mason?
Well, Buckholz needs to come out here and get himself established in his game. Very, very rough first inning. Red Sox come back, help him out by getting a couple of runs, and now I know it's early, but he needs a shutdown.
Here's Tyler Naquin, a youngster, just called up for his first major league appearance yesterday, his big league debut, and he struck out against Junichi Tazawa. In his major league debut, left-hand hitter, first-round draft pick out of Texas A&M.
Clay got away with one right there. High breaking ball at 76 miles an hour, top of the strike zone, and fortunately for him, fouled off to the left side.
Naquin hit .380 as a junior at Texas A&M, and he was a Golden Spike semifinalist. That award going to the top player in college baseball. Terry Francona won that. Tito won it as a junior at Arizona when he hit .401.
And had hair.
Lots of it, too, relatively speaking. Play with Brad Mills, his lieutenant. Of course, he didn't have any hair either. They've been friends for virtually their entire professional lives.
Now, those two guys, very, very close.
Always great. A real treat to see Terry Francona. A looper foul. One of the absolute funniest guys in baseball. And a terrific manager. April means baseball is back at Fenway. Great tickets for the opening homestand, including Patriots Day, still available. For information and to buy tickets, visit redsox.com/tickets. Nothing like Patriots Day at Fenway Park. The 11 a.m. first pitch. And a Boston Marathon. A holiday in Boston, down low on a check swing, and that skips away. 3-2 the count.
A lot of pitches here early for Clay Buchholz. 36 total so far. Cleaning some mud out of his cleats.
Lindor on deck. 4-2 the Indians here in the second inning. In game 2, and the payout pitch. Again spoiled. Not a lot of swings and misses, Jerry.
Not now, no. The velocity and the fastball that time, 90 miles an hour on a fastball that was right down the middle and foul back.
They'll try the 3-2 again against the rookie. And again, he fouls it away. That went in on the hands.
Yeah, that's pretty good hitting right there to foul that one off. That was that two-seam fastball that Buchholz likes to throw inside to lefties and have it pick up that inside corner. It did come back to the corner, but it was fouled off.
Clay has had 4 3-ball counts, and this is the 9th batter he's faced in the game. Base hit into right field. That'll be number 1 for Naquin. So that baseball will come on back. That's his first major league hit. That is the 4th hit already for Cleveland. And back to the dugout it will go. And that ancient ritual, the ball that will actually be in his locker will be a ball from about 1950. All scarred up and all sorts of magic marker on it. Then they'll give him the real thing.
That's something to keep the rest of your life. You know, you get that first base hit, you put on the ball, who was against, where it was, the date. Never forget it.
Francisco Lindor, the batter, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. One man away. Looks at a strike. Who did you give your first major league hit to?
Who did I give it to?
The baseball. Did you keep it or did you give it to somebody?
No, I kept it. I kept it. That's not, there's only a few things that I've kept it throughout my major league career. That was one of them.
Who was the pitcher?
Steve Busby.
Steve Busby, as the throw goes to first base, he threw a couple of no-hitters, didn't he?
He may have, but I tell you what, I tell this story all the time. I got a base hit in my first at bat in the big leagues, drove in a run, and I got picked off on the very next pitch. So Dick Williams said, if that happens one more time, you're heading back to AAA.
And he was serious.
He was dead serious.
As a heart attack. 0-1 big swing and a miss on the bender. 0-2. Well, you were just so excited.
My legs were shaking. And you know what the pickoff was? The fake to third and throw to first.
Oh, a killer.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Real bad.
Yeah.
I mean, real bad.
Oh, man. Naquin aboard. And a short lead away from Hanley Ramirez. Punched along the line, but foul. He tried to go to the opposite field. Lindor with pretty good power. Now, the Indians really hated giving up that big crowd on opening day, the original opening day, when they postponed until yesterday and did not draw nearly as many. And it's an even smaller crowd here tonight for a 6:10 first pitch. A lot of those folks could not take off 2 days in a row.
And a lot of them traveled from a long way to get here and actually got to the ballpark. And this had the game being called off just about 2 hours prior to the start of the game.
Last year, the Indians drew 1,388,000 fans. Hot shot knocked down by Hanley. He'll take it to the base and get the out there. Down to second is Naquin. The backhanded stop by Hanley Ramirez at first base.
Yeah, nice job by Ramirez knocking that ball down. If he comes up clean with it, he may have a 3-6 3-double play, but once it bobbles it like that and comes out of his glove, the only option is to get it out. And he felt like the best place to get it out by the time he got up was first base, and that was the correct move. But the Indians do get a man in scoring position.
With 2 out, Jose Ramirez now, base hit and a run scored for him in the first inning when they got 4 runs. Off of Clay, a 2-time All-Star. Buchholz made the American League team in 2010 and 13, and of course he tossed the 17th no-hitter in Red Sox history in 07 against Tampa Bay in just his second big league appearance. Into center field, a line shot base hit, charged by Bradley. They're going to send a runner. The throw is offline. The run is in to score. Throw to second and not in time. So Jackie Bradley on the charge. He fired it up the first base line as they sent Naquin to score his first major league run, and that makes it 5-2 Cleveland.
Yeah, that throw by Jackie Bradley way up the first base line, because when he got the ball, the runner was just about tagging third base, so it looked like it might be a close play, but the throw was errant from the beginning. You could see it just come out of his arm and go up that first base line. Here's the runner at first base. Ramirez takes a peek back. He sees that it's not going to be cut off, and he gets in a scoring position. So he's been kind of an ignited tonight for the Cleveland Indians. Another look at the throw from Bradley, way off target.
And Jackie, of course, with a very accurate arm typically, just not on that play. Here's Kipnis. He doubled deep into the right center field alley, and that scored a run in the first inning. So no shutdown inning for Clay Buchholz. He's allowed 2 hits in this inning and 5 already in the first 2 innings. A check swing, and it's in tight.
Just does not look comfortable, does he, on the mound? He has not looked comfortable from pitch 1 of this game.
Nope, not at all. Buchholz in the past has pitched pretty well against the Indians. That is high and tight. 2-1 with a .413 career ERA against Cleveland. In this ballpark, an ERA of 2.31. But a different story tonight. Runner at second and the 2-1. Check swing, and that's low.
You know, you look back at that last play and you watch, there's no cutoff man. It's supposed to be Hanley Ramirez, but he's late getting over, as you can see right there. Now, if that ball's cut off, the man does not get in a scoring position at second base. But Hanley was not in the right proper position, and you know, those are all things that come with learning how to play first base. Make sure you're in the right position on cutoffs.
Here's the 3-1 to a guy who can be a dangerous hitter, and he's taking all the way, ball 4. So that'll put him on at first and second, a walk to Kipnis and bring up Mike Napoli. And Carl Willis for the mound visit. He gets 30 seconds to say what he has to say. I don't know how much of this is playing in, but last year Clay Buchholz, when healthy, pitched well, as you mentioned, an ERA of 3.26, lowest on the team. And he seemed to work very well with the catcher Sandy Leon. Sandy caught 14 of the 18 starts for him, and he's not on the roster right now, working with Blake Swihart at the moment. So you wonder if that's factored into his comfort level.
You wonder if it becomes a mental part of the game, you know, for a guy like Buchholz. But I just think to this point, I mean, he has had no command of anything that he's throwing. He's just not hitting his spots at all.
Looks like a man searching and not finding. So it's Ramirez at second, Kipnis at first. A run in to make it 5-2 Indians. Napoli with 18 home runs last year goes wailing and knocks it foul back out of play. I was chatting with Mike in their clubhouse earlier tonight. He looks and feels great after that surgery for sleep apnea that he had in Boston. It really feels as if he is resuscitating his career after finally being able to sleep better. Still has good pop in that bat. The 0-1 upstairs. Santana, who belted a 3-run homer in the first inning, is the on-deck hitter. Buchholz knows that Mike Napoli is going to make you work, going to make you throw pitches. 2-1.
They're not chasing that cut fastball. I mean, it's not close enough to be tempting on the outside part of the plate right there.
Price certainly worked hard for his outs on Napoli yesterday. High fly down the line, slicing into the corner. On the run, Mookie Betts lunging for it, and a foul ball. That bounces around in the corner.
Well, you can see the breeze playing with that also, yes, because when that ball left the bat, it looked like maybe Mookie might have a chance at it, and he kind of got a little turned around out there as he headed toward the corner. I think the wind had a little push on this. Watch Mookie go in the corner, have to put the brakes on it, and the ball's a little bit deeper than he anticipated.
325 down that line. And down the left field line as well here at Progressive Field. So Buchholz trying to get out of this without any more damage. The runners leading at first and second, 2 down. The 2-2 home, the breaking ball, and that missed. So that'll run it full.
I mean, it's got to be frustrating for Buchholz right now because there's not a go-to pitch for him.
Now with 2 down, the runners will be off to the races. They'll get a head start here on a full count. Feels like a big pitch for Clay. Runners go. And a ground ball to the shortstop. A friendly hop for Xander Bogaerts, and he throws on to get him to retire the side. They do get another run, but 2 men are left. Now 5-2 Cleveland. Extra Innings Live right after the game. Tom Caron, Dennis Eckersley, Steve Lyons break down the game. You'll hear from Clay Buchholz and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever, who but W.B. Mason. Dustin Pedroia to lead off the third inning. The Red Sox trail 5-2. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien, Garen Austin with you. In the first night game of the Red Sox 2016 season. Pedroia with a double in the first inning, although the Red Sox could not bring him in. He is 1 for 1. And 3 for 7 against Carlos Carrasco. Little dribbler. Uribe to charge that. 1 man out. Xander Bogaerts up next. Xander took a walk in the first inning. DraftKings is the official one-day fantasy baseball partner of the Red Sox. Experience the thrill of playing on DraftKings right now. Play free daily using the promo code NESSN at DraftKings.com. David Ortiz on deck. The skies are holding here in Cleveland. We don't care what it does in Toronto.
No, it doesn't matter. We know we're going to play 3 games in Toronto.
You know, they've had that artificial surface there for so many years on the infield. They've torn that up, and now they have dirt on the base paths.
Yeah, very similar to Tampa Bay that has that same setup. You know, they put that new turf in there and it was so slow. Remember when they put it in? Was it last year they put it in? And it was so slow at the beginning before they started to get matted down a little bit.
Yeah, very spongy. The 0-2 pitch. He chased it outside and he swings and misses for strike 3. That had a lot of movement on it.
Yeah, that's a good shot breaking ball right there. Even though it wasn't down and away, it broke so hard and so quickly that it was just away from Bogaerts, and he gets in the chase one that's just a little bit off the outside edge. Carrasco's got good stuff. I mean, he's got good velocity, good hard slider, good changeup.
A 14-game winner last season, 14-12. With a 3.63 ERA, they're really relying on him. They have an excellent top 3 in their rotation. And in there for a strike on David. He flied out to left his first time up, 0 for 1. He is 2 for 6 against Carrasco. That's a strike.
Here's that changeup at 88 miles an hour, and of course that ball looked to be a little outside. Here's the last pitch from Carrasco, the changeup that's going to be going down and away from Ortiz. Nice job pulling it back by Yan Gomes.
Yeah, he's a good framer. The 0-2 down low. That's one of the things that the Red Sox love about Christian Vasquez when he does return from that Tommy John. The ability to frame pitches and to buy a strike once in a while that's not a strike.
Yeah, good catches can do that. There's no question about that.
Catch it real deep in the pocket, but don't move the glove very much. The 1-2, a check and it's low. Carrasco, as you look at Sandy Alomar,
he was pretty good at it.
Yep. Base is empty and 2 men out. Bounding ball to the first baseman. Mike Napoli will flip onto the pitcher Carrasco, and it's a 1-2-3 and a very quiet third for the Red Sox. The Indians lead it in the third inning, 5-2. Can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now. You can catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. Well, you remember Santana, who's about to come to bat. His catching career suffered a major blow 6 years ago. This was at Fenway Park. Ryan Kalish went barreling into him. We all thought his leg was broken, and that would be the end of his career. That left leg just buckled. That caused ligament damage that required surgery, although he would come back and catch again. But at that moment, Jerry, you remember it? It looked like he never would.
I remember it very, very well, and that was an ugly situation at home plate. Of course, carted off the field, and well, it's been a few different positions for him since then.
He's been at first base, and now their designated hitter. But he could always hit, and he did in the first inning tonight against Buchholz, launching a 3-run homer. 5-2 Cleveland here in the third. They scored 4 times in the first, another run last inning. So Clay Buchholz in dire need of a fast inning here in the last of the third. He's a 1-2-3.
I think what he really needs too, Dave, is he needs to find something he has confidence in right now. I don't think he has confidence in any one of his pitches that he's throwing to the plate.
Now falling behind a lot. That one stung into left center field toward the alley. Holton Bradley. Jackie slips and falls. Heading into second. Santana, the throw won't get him, and it trickles on by. Jackie Bradley went down trying to cut that off in the alley. And a little bit gimpy out there in the gap.
Very impressive by Santana. I mean, he hooks a home run his last time up. And this time he takes the ball to the shortstop hole, hit very, very hard. They've got the shift on. It's wide open over there. He goes in that direction, and you'll see the slip right there by Jackie. And that's going to allow Santana to basically get in fairly easily to second base with the head first slide.
Those feet got tied up, kicked up a divot. That was ripped.
And give credit to Santana for hustling out of that batter's box. He was thinking about 2 bases right from contact. That's the way to run the bases.
Red Sox are starting to get bullpen activity. Yan Gomes taking up high for a ball. Noe Ramirez begins to warm up. Far too early for John Farrell's taste. 6 hits already against Clay. He's also walked a couple of men. He's allowed a long home run. And he has been all over the place. Gomes 0 for 1. He's flying out to right field. He's the first Brazilian-born player in Major League history. Santana at second, nobody out. And a 2-0 from the slender righty. In for a called strike. Coming into this third inning, Buchholz had already thrown 56 pitches, so it had all the earmarks of a very short outing. And now Swihart is up out of the crouch and wants a mound visit. Gomes can hit it out of the ballpark. He had 21 home runs in 2014 and became something of a hero in his country in Brazil. A lot of great soccer players there, Jerry, but not many baseball players.
No, not at all. They do have some good soccer players.
Or footballers, as those of us in the know like to say. A check swing and it's inside.
Not a bad pitch right there. That's a changeup from Buchholz. It got the inside corner, it looked like, but again, a very different strike zone tonight than yesterday afternoon.
Once again, he's behind in the count, 3-1. Big swing and a miss there by Gomes. That pitch was only 87 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's a cutter right there from Buchholz, and I think that's what fooled Gomes. He thought it was going to be a fastball, little cut right toward the end that takes it to the outside part of the plate.
This is the 4th time He's gone full count on a hitter tonight. And finally puts one away as he strikes out Yan Gomes for the first out in the inning.
A cutter again this time from Buchholz, but right down the middle of the plate that time, and certainly a situation where Gomes was in hitters counts on a couple of occasions, but not able to make contact. They leave the man at second base in Santana and now operate with one out.
It brings up Marlon Byrd with a runner at second, one away. Remember, Byrd survived a terrifying health scare in his sophomore year in college. You may recall the story from when he was with the Red Sox. He had that calf injury bad enough to require an operation, and when the doctors went in, they discovered an infection of a muscle, and it was so awful they considered immediate amputation. He was like 20 years old. They decided to wait, and after an infection was dealt with, he was in a cast for about 6 weeks to begin the rehab process. The 0-1 pitch popped him up. Swihart looking for room, but that's right up there into the crowd. Byrd couldn't do very much, and because of the condition of his leg, he ballooned up to 315 pounds. And even he thought that was incredible. He thought he was sitting at about 260. Made him so angry, he went on a Spartan diet. He lost 90 pounds in 5 months, and by 2000, he was the Phillies minor league player of the year.
That's a remarkable story for Marlon Byrd.
Go 2 on the way, and inside. You have not had to take such drastic measures. Your diet, your half portion diet, is working so well.
A lot of people want to know about that, you know.
Yes.
It's not that difficult.
It's blown up on Twitter. The Remy diet. Here's the 1-2. Did he offer? He did not, says Carapazza.
And you can see Buchholz kind of just shrug his shoulders. It's been that kind of night for him. You know, can't get a call right there on a attempted swing. Let's take a look from the side, see if he goes. Tough to tell from that angle. But nothing going Buchholz's way in this game tonight.
Only one out here in the third. He trails 5-2, and the 2-2 to Marlon Byrd. Popped up. Pedroia racing out. Bradley coming in. Pedroia wants it. The runner holding, and there are 2 away. Hey, the Bruins only have 2 games remaining, and their last gasp for the playoff begins tomorrow night. Tune in to NESN Plus. The Bees facing off against the Red Wings at 7. So 2 down for Uribe, who is 0 for 1 with a tapper to short. And it's taking everything that Clay Buchholz has to get through 3 innings in his first start of the year. Uribe is 1 for 7 against the Sox right-hander. And a strike along the outside corner. Ramirez all warmed up. If John Farrell wants to bring him in the game, there are 2 out. Santana began the inning with that rocket double. He is still on at second. It has been a struggle for Clay. Looking for the strikeout on Uribe. Here comes the 0-2. Couldn't get him to chase it.
I'm trying to get him to chase that curveball. That's got to be down and away, but Uribe does not chase.
The 31-year-old right-hander checks his runner. High pop to the right side into right center. That'll be Jackie Bradley Jr. and making a catch to retire the side. So despite the double, in the end, no harm done. Still 5-2 Cleveland after 3. The Indians leading the Red Sox here in the first night game of the season for the Red Sox, day number 2 on the schedule. After knocking off the Indians on opening day 6-2, the Sox fell behind early tonight. In there for a strike on Hanley Ramirez, but bringing up some hot bats here, with Hanley to be followed by Travis Shaw and Brock Holt. Brock Holt has belted a 2-run homer in his lone trip to the plate tonight. Hanley with a ground ball back to the pitcher in the first inning, and that's in there for a strike. Had him bailing out of there.
That's a good hard slider that he throws and threw it directly out. Hanley had him backing out of the batter's box.
Ramirez playing in just 105 games last year. Went on the DL from August 27th till the end of the season because of right shoulder inflammation. Wheels and misses, and down he goes quickly. He strikes out, 1 gone.
Hanley asking if that last pitch was a good pitch. Was it a strike? That's what he wants to know from the umpire, and the umpire shaking his head. Yes, it was a strike. Hitters like to know that, sometimes when they strike out, that I swing at a pitch that was a bad pitch. I don't think it was a strike. It looked like it was down and away.
That was not a strike.
That was not a strike, but the umpire was telling Hanley it was.
It was a strike yesterday. I think that's what he's saying. He said, yesterday with the umpire, that was a strike, Hanley.
Today, not so much.
Travis Shaw with a base hit, his first time up to left field. And he was on base when Brock Holt lifted a 2-run homer. Red Sox facing Carlos Carrasco, who Major League Baseball suspended back in April of 2013 for 8 games for drilling Kevin Youkilis with a pitch when Uke was a member of the Yankees. So Carrasco is one of a long line of pitchers who for some reason had drilled Kevin Youkilis. A pop into left field. Ramirez with all night to get underneath that. 2 down. Brock Holt is next. Nesson is looking for youth baseball and softball teams to be a live studio audience for Nesson Clubhouse this season. You can visit NessonClubhouse.com and click on Studio Audience to enter your son or daughter's team. And the experience includes a pizza party before the show and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a part of the studio audience. Nobody on base for Brock. First home run of the year in the second inning. That was with Travis Shaw on board. Those are the only runs for the Sox so far, and he'll take ball 1. Keep remembering Jabba Chamberlain and his encounters with Uke over the years. He's now in the bullpen for this Cleveland team.
Yeah, those were pretty nasty encounters, that's for sure. And Youkilis, of course, used to get thrown out a lot. He was right on top of the plate. He used to have his elbow hanging out over the plate. And for some reason, to opposing teams, he was not a very popular guy.
There's Jabba, who's bounced around a bit from his Yankee days. Uke, by the way, retired in 2014 after a short stint in Japan. And he was hired by Theo Epstein to be a scouting and development guy, consultant for the Cubs. But always one of our favorite guys. That's along the outside corner for a strike. Kevin Youkilis got an awful lot out of his ability.
He sure did. Got to hit 104 times throughout his career. That's a lot.
Two and two on Brock Holt. Up the middle, a line shot, base hit. He just keeps on hitting. 2 for 2 tonight.
He had only faced Carrasco once prior to the game tonight. Was 0 for 1 against him, but tonight the home run, 2-run home run in his second, and now the base hit up the middle, and that's just a pretty swing right there. That's on a breaking ball. Good job keeping his weight back, head on the contact, and takes it up the middle for the base hit.
Blake Swihart 0 for 1. He's flying to the center fielder. 5-2 Indians here in the top of the 4th inning. Red Sox trying to get something going with 2 out. Pounded in there for a strike. 91 right on the black. Swihart spending most of last season at the big league level. And the opening day catcher here in 2016. That one caught the corner, said Bill Welke. The catcher's always in a tough spot. You can't complain.
No, you got to be very, very careful what you say to the umpires, because you got to save your pitcher.
He wants that same pitch for his guy. He asks for time.
Plus, they'll have a lot of conversations too, you know, between innings when they're warming up the pitcher about certain pitches that they may have not agreed with.
0-2 fouled off of the catcher, right off the shin guard. Blake Reda quietly led all American League catchers with a batting average of .306 after the 11th of June last year through the end of the season. So he really started to swing an impressive bat against the Yankees on September 29th. He had 2 homers and drove in 5 runs. Had some nice nights. Holt at first base, 2 down, to count 0-2. And he drops it in there for strike 3. Right on the edge of the plate again. 1 man left, still 5-2 Cleveland in the 4th. Pitching line is brought to you by Ace Ticket, and so far it's been 3 rocky innings, Jerry.
Yeah, 75 pitches already in this game for Buchholz. I mean, he's an inning or so away from being out of this game. Only 43 strikes for him.
Gets the rookie Tyler Naquin here, who singled off him last inning for his first major league hit and scored his first big league run. A 24-year-old who between AA and AAA last year hit well enough to impress. He'll be followed by Lindor and then Ramirez, and he backs away in tight. 5 runs on 6 hits for Cleveland. That includes a first inning 3-run homer by Carlos Santana. 2 runs on 4 hits for the Red Sox, including a 2-run homer by Brock Holt. And the 1-1. Wraps that one foul.
Well, excuse me, swing that time on the changeup from Buchholz. That was way out of the strike zone, down low, but Naquin fouling that pitch off, chasing a bad pitch.
1-2. He chased that one into the dirt for strike 3. Swihart will have to throw him out, and that's a strikeout. So the youngster helped him there.
Yeah, Buchholz found a spot that, you know, if he saw him check the swing and foul a ball off on a changeup previous to that, comes right back with a changeup again and gets him to chase another bad pitch. So put that in the book for Naquin. The off-speed pitch may be a problem for him.
So back up to the top of the order now, Lindor, who has struck out and grounded out to first. 22-year-old from Puerto Rico, and that one's all the way to the backstop. Lindor often wore the number 12 growing up, and he does here in the big leagues, to honor former Indians All-Star Roberto Alomar, also a native of Puerto Rico, who wore number 12 in there for a strike. Alomar, of course, now in the Hall of Fame, and what an incredible all-around player Robbie Alomar was. Got jammed there, and he cracked that one foul. Lindor, a superior defender, very flashy defensive guy. He's made some great plays going back to last summer when they called him up. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Check swing, and that one bounds away. Did not offer, according to the third base umpire Hirschbeck. 2 balls, 2 strikes. From improving your diet to the latest cancer treatments, learn all about stomach disease this month from experts at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center. Visit bidmc.org/yourhealth. Two-two to Lindor. Cut on and missed. He strikes him out. Back-to-back Ks for Clay Buchholz.
Now Buchholz looks much more comfortable this inning, not just because he's got a couple of strikeouts, but he's getting pitches where he wants to. Gets that cut fastball inside on Lindor. He had that changeup that he threw to Naquin to pick up the strikeout. This is by far the best command that he's had in the game so far. Unfortunately, his pitch count is high.
Fouled away by Ramirez. Had a good game, 2 for 2, couple of singles, an RBI, and a run scored out of the 2 slot. 5-2 Cleveland. And Buchholz on the verge of a 1-2-3 inning. It would be his first of the contest. That's a strike at 90. Kipnis would be next. Buchholz taking a deep breath, and the 0-2 on the way. Another one diving down into the dirt. No activity right now in the Red Sox bullpen. Noe Ramirez was warming up last inning. Here's the 1-2. Among the rule changes this year, we've already detailed several of those, but the batter no longer has to keep 1 foot in the batter's box all the time. In situations like a check swing appeal by the umpire, he can step out, and a few others. That one poked into left, but picked off by Shaw before he gets there to retire the side. A gentle floater. Good frame for Buchholz. He gets him 1-2-3 for the first time tonight. Red Sox moment honoring the 1986 Red Sox season. Their second game of the season against the Tigers. Red Sox would lose 6-5. The Tigers scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th to take the lead for good. Wade Boggs had 4 hits. He drove in 3 runs for the Red Sox. Look back at 1986. Season where the Red Sox would go to the World Series. Jackie Bradley to lead off here in the top of the 5th. Red Sox trying to get some offense going against Carlos Carrasco. Bradley 0 for 1, caught looking on the 3rd strike. Uribe's been playing in, guarding against a bunt.
Yeah, it's an unusual setup where they have the shift on and Uribe in tight just in case of a bunt. Now that will change once the count changes.
Jackie with a hit yesterday on opening day, slashes at that one and fouls it away. You liked how his swing was looking at the end of spring training, didn't you?
Yeah, very much so. You know, he was pulling the ball, he was hitting up the middle, and he was using the opposite field, using the whole ballpark to get base hits and doubles, and really swinging the bat very well.
Carrasco with a 1-1 and rattle foul there at home plate.
Here's a good example right there, Dave. You know, that's a pitch, that 3rd pitch to him that was away. That's the ball that he was taking to the opposite field at the end of spring training. That time it looked like he was trying to pull that pitch. You see the location of the pitch, it's going to be away. And watch the swing. It looks like a pull swing to me. And it looks like he tried to pull a ball that was well outside.
Jackie very, very streaky. Bounding ball into that shift. Down for it, Kipnis. And 1 man out. Let's go downstairs to Garen Austin.
Thanks, OB. This season, MLB has approved the use of iPads in the dugout so players can watch video and review footage. John Farrell said it's going to be up to each positional coach if he wants to utilize the new technology or stick to a more traditional method. Farrell said he's going to stick to paper because that's what works for him. But guys, I talked to Torey Lovullo, who said he's excited to utilize the new technology, even though it might take him a while to get used to it. Jerry, what are your thoughts on iPads in the dugout?
Well, it's no surprise that they're there right now. You know, the game has become so much information available for people that, you know, to have it at your fingertips, I think is a great thing. Now, I personally did a lot of my own stuff just by memory, you know, and didn't have an opportunity like the guys have today to watch their last at bat or watch, you know, what this certain guy throws that's coming into a game. They have all that information at their fingertips now. And hey, I'm for all anything that you give you an edge, I think is a great thing.
I'm with John Farrell, though. I need to write it down and see it written down.
I agree. I agree with you. You know, I'm the same way.
I know it's old-fashioned. The 1-1 will miss on Mookie Betts. He's 0 for 2. But I need to write it down and see it written down my own terrible handwriting. By the way, no one else can read it.
Well, that makes 2 of us, because if I can't read yours, you can't read mine.
Yeah. If one of us leaves the booth and there's action, forget it. We're on our own when we come back. You'll see WW on the scorecard. Wasn't watching. A swing and a miss. Mookie trying to reach for the first time here tonight. Betts with 68 extra base hits last year. Most by a Red Sox player before turning 23 in 75 years. Ted Williams and Bobby Doerr both accomplished that feat in 1940. That's how good Mookie was last year. A 2-2. Up the middle, the second baseman Kipnis behind the bag and gets him. 2 down. 2016 Red Sox season underway. Be sure to download the Red Sox schedule directly into your favorite desktop, web, or mobile calendar program. Visit NESN.com/schedule and download today.
Dave, there's an example there of an infielder knowing what the pitch is going to be against Betts. I mean, the middle infield is the second baseman and shortstop see the signs from the catcher, and Kipnis saw breaking ball, so he can move a step or so to his right, and that put him in perfect position to make the play on that ground ball against Betts.
2 ground balls to second. Pedroia now a double and a ground out to third tonight. Petey's 1 for 2. And across for strike 1.
Well, you take a look at the signs. You see that where Kipnis is, and he's going to start moving just a little bit to his left. And the ground ball, he's going to position to make the play. They had him shaded in that direction anyway, and it was just a little bit of another step when he saw a breaking ball being called by the catcher, something that he expected Betts to pull, and that put him in a spot to make the catch on the ground ball.
Kipnis out of Arizona State, just like the man at the plate. He followed Dustin Pedroia at Arizona State. So he heard about the legend of Pedroia. That one chopped along the third base line, but foul. And he was a legendary college player. Now, he told a lot of those stories himself.
Yeah, sure. Petey's not shy about telling stories, especially about his college career.
A healthy Dustin Pedroia won the American League MVP in 08. Trips to the All-Star game in 09 and in 2013. World Series rings, 4 Gold Gloves. It looked like a bouncier Dustin Pedroia who came into spring training camp. Soft liner on one hop, and that one really eats up Kipnis. That might have had a funny spin on it. And Pedroia is on here with 2 down in the 5th.
Yeah, Kipnis didn't know what to do on that because it was hit almost at his feet. And he didn't know whether to come in and play it on a line or back up on it. He decides to back up on it, then the ball just eats him up right there. And it did take a weird spin on him. That was like a knuckleball coming off the bat of Pedroia.
I think they're going to give him a hit on that.
I would.
Indeed it will be. It's his second of the game.
Take the look at the last hop, and it just disappears. And Kipnis looking right down in that spot where the ball bounced. But he got trapped in a weird spot. He didn't know whether to come in or go back on that.
Let's see if that opens things up. There are 2 down, but here's Xander Bogaerts. Fouls that one away. He's walked and struck out so far tonight. Red Sox trailing 5-2 in the 5th inning. Here's another look.
Yeah, he decides to back up on it. And, you know, when you back up as an infielder, that's never a good position to be in.
But a single for Pedroia. He's on with 2 away. Ortiz on deck. He chased one there. He's done that a couple of times tonight against Carrasco.
Yeah, I think Carrasco's breaking ball, it's hard, and it's very difficult to pick up. You're getting that sense from the right-handed hitters. I mean, that's almost like a cut fastball right there at 85, but it's hard, and it's hard to pick up.
He's had the Red Sox in a hole 0-2 now 6 times. And he has outstanding stuff, so that's deadly. Broken back ground ball. Lindor will dig that. The force retires the side, so nothing comes of the strange single. 5-2 Cleveland, mid-5th. Strikeout hunger. For every strikeout by a Red Sox pitcher this season, Lexus donates $50 to the Greater Boston Food Bank. Clay Buchholz still out there. Maybe his last inning. Noe Ramirez is continuing to throw in the bullpen. He's up for the second time. The youngster from Los Angeles, who the Red Sox promoted to the major leagues for the first time last year. It was a rocky start for Buchholz. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning, another run in the second inning. And even though he's been a little bit better since those first couple of innings, he's still trailing 5-2. Jason Kipnis will stand in against him here. He has doubled in a run and taken ball 4. He'll look at a pitch outside for ball 1. Kipnis last May had one of the best months in club history. He had 51 hits in the month of May. He scored 30 runs in 29 games. That's really what drove him to the All-Star game. Just turned 29 during this homestand. The 2-0 to the dirt.
Has an interesting way of getting started at the plate where he'll put that bat as he gets to the batter's back toward the catcher first and then take it up to his shoulder. Just a little timing device.
3-0 pitch, a strike. It's amazing how many times, though, the good hitters, they get to the same spot eventually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Doesn't matter where you start, it's where you make contact.
Hitters count for him. And it's inside ball 4. He walks for the second time. This one leads off the inning. Hey, tonight, after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, it's crunch time for the Bruins. A playoff berth hanging in the balance. Highlights from that crucial Flyers-Red Wings matchup that impacts the Bees' fate. Plus highlights from the Celtics against the Pelicans. NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Here comes John Farrell. And the night is over, and you just knew it in that first inning the way it started for Clay Buchholz. It was going to be a short one.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. The fact that he just never seemed to have command of any of his pitches in this game tonight.
94 pitches, and that's in 4 plus a batter into the 5th. So that was a real struggle. And we'll be back in just a moment. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. BuyAToyota.com, Toyota's website for deals. By Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. And by Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Back in Cleveland, it has been dry tonight, but it was not a strong outing for Clay Buchholz. He is done after 4 innings plus 1 hitter. 6 hits, 5 runs, all earned, 94 pitches, Jerry.
Yeah, 94 pitches, that's a lot, and a lot in the first couple of innings for Buchholz, which got that count up very high for him. And, you know, the best he looked, I thought, was in the fourth inning. He got 3 straights out at the end of the 3rd, then he got the side in order in the 4th, and I thought that was the best inning he had all night long.
That'll bring up Noe Ramirez out of the bullpen. The right-hander, 6'3", about 205 pounds, from Los Angeles. Made his major league debut with the Sox in 17 appearances last year. And brought on to face Mike Napoli with a runner at first base after Kipnis took ball 4. It is 5-2 Cleveland here in the 5th inning, as the Indians try and even up this series. And we're all just hoping we'll play baseball tomorrow. But the forecast is really miserable for tomorrow.
Yeah, they're talking about rain. They're talking about snow. They're talking about a little bit of everything here in Cleveland tomorrow.
Jerry, you're frightening me. High fly foul back out of play, but you're right. And on the other hand, it's Cleveland. So
who knows?
Who knows? It might be a starlit night at 6 o'clock.
It could be. The players at this stage of the season want some consistency in their playing time. You know, you don't want to have a game and then miss a day and come back and play a game and miss a game. You want to string some games together in a row.
Ramirez with the 0-1 pitch, a check swing, but it's down low. Let's go downstairs to Garrett Austin.
You know what? You guys are scaring me as well. I've had to bring something for every type of weather element for this series. I've had to bring my extreme winter coats and my umbrella, so we never know what we're going to expect here.
That's like another suitcase for Garrett. The big one. With all the weather gear, the 1-1 pitch, a high fly ball, but that'll drift foul. Mookie Betts over to give it a look. Now, Joe Kelly, who had a really impressive spring, will be on the hill tomorrow evening at 6:10 against right-hander Danny Salazar. And then the Red Sox will be boarding the charter and heading for Toronto. This is the new plane, right?
Tomorrow night?
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be, yes.
Red Sox have a new charter, and it's supposed to be just gorgeous. And we do have a seating chart on it for the first time I can remember. Down into the dirt, stopped by Blake Swihart.
Makes it easy. I mean, you get on the plane, there's no rush to get on to get a seat. You know where you're going to be sitting each time you get on the airplane. Perfect. I know where I'm sitting, in the last row of the plane. It's perfect.
For simple guys like me, it works great. I love it. In that last row, though, they always run out of the meal you want.
Well, that depends where the galley is, where they're cooking it.
Yeah, we don't know that yet. The 2-2 hammer to short. Xander into Pedroia, one on to first, and got him. Double play. Red Sox turn 2, 6-4-3 on the infield.
Now this will give us an opportunity to talk about that new rule at second base. Now you're going to see the base runner go in right here and just a straight slide. And it was not a slide where he rolled over after to take out Pedroia. Now this rule, the more I hear about it, the more I see it, I don't like it. And I know it protects the second baseman and the shortstop, but you know, one thing you're taught in this game, and it makes a difference, intimidation is a lot of it. And you're always taught at first base to go in and be able to take out a second baseman and maybe grab, you know, an extra out or an extra run if there's a man in scoring position by him throwing the ball away. That's not going to happen very much with this new rule.
Yeah, this was deciding a ball game last night.
Yes.
When Jose Bautista of Toronto was ruled out, and so was the batter on that play, because you can do that now on that rolling slide. He was making contact with a second baseman. Hammered to dead away center. Jackie on his horse and turns to make the catch. He nearly overran it. Santana had homered and doubled. So Ramirez gets out of that with a double play ball. 5-2 Indians. To the 6th inning, and David Ortiz to lead it off. 0 for 2 tonight for Big Papi. As the Sox trail 5-2, they have ever since the 2nd inning. David's flied to left and grounded out. Yesterday, hitting his 504th career home run to tire Eddie Murray for 26th on the all-time list. Tuesday is Ortiz necklace giveaway night at Fenway. The first 15,000 fans receive an Ortiz 500 necklace courtesy of FW Webb. Go to redsox.com/promos for more information. Certainly going for number 505 right there.
Yeah, and keeping everything away from Ortiz in this at bat. 3 pitches on the outside part of the plate and off the plate.
Hanley Ramirez on deck, then Travis Shaw. They get activity in the Indians bullpen. Carrasco's pitch is tapped and up the first base line, a foul. McAllister and Detweiler. Detweiler, the lefty, are loosening. The Red Sox have been held to 5 hits. One of those a 2-run homer by Brock Holt in the 2nd inning. The only Sox runs. David trying to add in the 6th inning. Here's the pitch.
Five pitches away from David Ortiz.
David hit homers 499 and 500 on September 12th at Tampa Bay in the same game. 3-2. Spoiled that one. He joined Albert Pujols as the only players ever to hit 499 and 500 in the same game. David will always let you know when he thought he should have done serious damage on a pitch.
That last pitch was a good example of breaking ball away. He just missed it.
The payoff. High fly ball deep to right center. Back it goes. Naquin turning. It's gone. He's done it again. Number 505 for Big Papi. He did not miss that one. And the Red Sox pull to within 2.
I'd love to go back to the swing before and then see the swing home run for the home run, because he thought he had a pitch that was a hanger on the pitch before. He kind of smiled. Here's the swing before where he gets a hanging breaking ball. It's going to be away from him. Fouls it off, and he knew he was right on something. Then he gets the fastball after that and takes it out of the ballpark.
And a classic Ortiz cut to touch them all. And bring up Hanley Ramirez, who's 0 for 2 tonight. David Price said yesterday he still got it. Opposing pitchers do not like to see him in that box. I'm happy he's on my team. And now holds 26th place to himself. He just passed a Hall of Famer. Popped up. Let's see if Napoli or Kipnis have a play down the line. Kipnis going for it, but off into the seats.
You know, got Hanley Ramirez to the plate, and we've talked about it, Dave, where he's got a different type swing this year than he had a year ago. And if you look on the left a year ago, you can see that his bat was kind of upright. Now he starts it with on his shoulder. His stance is more spread this year than it was last year, and it's not as violent of leg kick. You can roll the tape now, see where his leg is last year, and see where it is this year. Not as violent at all. And what he's trying to do is calm his whole swing down and have the ability to go the other way if he has to.
And we're seeing the effects of that.
Yes, we have.
Shot off the wall yesterday to right field. This one he's grounded back to the pitcher very sharply and struck out. If that play had not been made by Carrasco in the first inning, the Red Sox had runners on base after the double by Pedroia and the walk by Bogaerts. Might be a very different game at this point. Right now 5-3 the Indians, as the Red Sox nudge a little bit closer on the second home run in as many days by Big Papi. 2-1. There's a high fly ball. That's well hit. Deep right center. That one's sailing, headed for the stands, and it's out of here. The Red Sox go back-to-back. Home runs by David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez, and right back in the game. You were onto something, Jerry Remy.
Well, we just talked about it, how he's trying to be more compact, how he's trying to use the opposite field more this season than he did a year ago. And that time it paid off, going to the opposite field for the home run.
Red Sox with 3 home runs tonight.
See Hanley well off the plate, gets a fastball middle in and the inside out swing. And that is a typical Hanley Ramirez swing from his days in the National League.
The Red Sox down 1 all of a sudden. That forces the Indians to go to the bullpen. 5-4 Cleveland.
Back-to-back home runs by Ortiz. Ramirez, you know, we showed you that graphic on the side-by-side swing. Last year, much different stance for Ramirez. This year, bat closer on his shoulder. Then you see the leg kick. Look how close his feet are last year. The high, violent leg kick. This year, a little bit less. It's going to be still a leg kick, but not as high, and that keeps him more compact. His eyes on the baseball much better, and able to drive the ball the opposite field, and that's just what he did last time up. Here's his last swing. You're going to see basically the same swing right there as we just showed you on the right-hand side, and takes it out of the ballpark to get the Red Sox closer.
Chris Young will bat for the first time this season, a guy who hits lefties very well, and facing Detweiler, the Red Sox faced yesterday, and that'll miss outside for a ball. So Young in the game now, hitting in Travis Shaw's spot, with the Sox pulling to within 1. Young has been a lefty killer, has good power himself. Outside for a ball. He had 14 home runs for the Yankees last year. So the Red Sox flashing some lumber here to the middle innings. There's a high fly ball toward left center, racing out Lindor. And now they let it fall in between the left fielder and the center fielder, and into second base is Young. Naquin and Ramirez both looking at each other, and it falls between them, and a big break for the Red Sox, who now have the tying run at second.
Now there's an example of a young center fielder, Naquin, not taking charge of a ball. I mean, he's the guy. He's the take charge guy. He's the center fielder, but because he's a young player, he's probably afraid to do so, and it cost him that time.
He's looking up into the wind too, like it was really kicking up, but I think you're right. I think that's just a case of an inexperienced outfielder muffing the play.
Yep. He's the take charge guy. The center fielder is. If he can get it, he takes it.
Has begun to sprinkle a little bit here. It's also sprinkling runs For the Red Sox, here comes Brock Holt, who has homered and singled. So 2 for 2 tonight, 5-4 Cleveland. The Red Sox rallying against Carrasco and now the bullpen perhaps. Nobody out in the inning. Home runs by Big Papi and Hanley Ramirez back to back, and a gift double to Chris Young. Stopped by Gomes, and the runner has to hold.
And now you're down to a run ball game, and this is where Holt's going to try to move that runner to third base with less than 2 outs. Try to pull the ball. If you can get something middle in, try to pull it to the right side. If you get lucky, you get the base hit, you get the bonus.
Brock Holt likely to go to third base, and Young would go to left field defensively. Inside at 89 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike. Well, the Red Sox did finish last year, but they actually wound up 4th in the majors in runs scored by the end of the season. That's inside for a ball. So after a chilly start to the season, the offense did get rolling. It was kind of an afterthought because of where the Sox were in the standings. And Ramirez going yard for the first time on the Young season. Now it's 3-1. Young at second. And he gets a piece of it.
That's what Holt was trying to do. He had the count in his favor. 3 ball, 1 strike, trying to pull that ball to at least advance Young to third base.
Brock's such a smart hitter and an unselfish hitter in positions like this. Just thinking about getting that man over if you can't get him in. And allow Swihart to drive him in and tie the game. Detweiler with a 3-2. And fouled off again.
There again, you can see by that swing, definitely trying to pull the ball. See the swing here by Holt, trying to get that bat head out in front, trying to pull the ball to the right side. Situational hitting.
5-4 Cleveland, 6th inning. Red Sox rallying. The tying run Young at second base. And the 3-2 to Brock Holt. And that missed low ball 4, so he walked him. And that's 4 consecutive Red Sox who have reached base here in the 6th. And the batter will be Blake Swihart. Red Sox getting to Carlos Carrasco. 5 innings of work. Turning it over to the bullpen, and the Red Sox are within 1.
Let's see how the Red Sox play this now. You got Bradley on deck, so it would be lefty against lefty if you bunted and advanced 2 runners. Now the Indians are in. Napoli's in at first base. Uribe in at third base. They're expecting a possible bunt from Swihart, but I'm not sure the Red Sox are going to do that. Let's take a look.
He's going to bat right-handed, squaring to bunt, pulls it away, throw down to second base, a tag, safe. Young did get back in.
And that's a prearranged play right there. There's no question about it. If you bunt through a baseball, a lot of times that catcher will come up and fire to second base because the shortstop's already there.
Gomes has a very, very strong arm, and it was close.
The reason that surprised me a little bit, the bunt attempt, is because what I talked about. It's going to be lefty against lefty Bradley, and I thought maybe they'd give Swihart a chance to swing the bat in this situation.
Blake had 2 sacrifice bunts last season. He got the verbal cue here from Brian Butterfield just to make sure. Don't want to mess this up. First and second, nobody out. The switch hitting catcher. First baseman creeping in. He does square to bunt, takes it away, and that misses for ball 2.
Well, Napoli's right on top of him, too. I'll tell you, if you have any kind of bat control at all, the way Napoli is, you could slap it right by him. You want to take a chance? Slap it right by the first baseman.
Swihart, a very, very good athlete. You know he runs well. Young at second, Brock Holt at first. So the go-ahead run is at first base for the Red Sox, who have trailed all night. The 2-0, not bunting there, and it's now 2-1.
Yeah, gets himself in a fastball count. 2 balls, no strikes. They take off the bunt play and let him swing away. Now let's see what they do on the 2-1 count.
Now the wheels are turning. David Ortiz with a home run. Hanley Ramirez right after him with a home run. Young with a pop-up that should have been caught in left center. It dropped in for a double. Brock Holt with a nice at-bat. Took a walk. Now the Red Sox are base hit away from tying the game. They were down 4-0 after 1 inning of play. And Detweiler with Napoli charging in delivers. He is bunting but takes it away again, and now it's 3-1.
And with Napoli that close, you can see Swihart. He's trying to bunt the ball down the third base line and pull Uribe off the bag. Leave that vacant third base bag. See if they switch back to the swing now when a hit is count 3-1.
I like the idea on 3-1 swinging the bat here.
I do too.
He's 0 for 2 tonight with a fly to center and a strikeout. Uribe's backed up almost even with third base. Not bunting, and it's inside for ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the Red Sox with nobody out. That is 5 consecutive Red Sox reaching base against Terry Francona's Indians. Boy, Tito can feel this one slipping away. And here comes Jackie Bradley. Jackie is struck out looking and grounded to second.
What a strange inning, Dave. Led off by 2 home runs, back-to-back home runs, a double, then back-to-back walks. What a guy that was trying to give you an out by bunting.
Right. And they refused to take it. So no place to put Jackie, who hit 10 home runs last year. And now time is asked for, and he'll climb back in. A golden spot for the number 9 hitter. The bases are loaded. Fly ball into center field. Naquin, this is plenty deep enough. He makes the catch. Young will tag. He is in to score. Throw to second base. Holt down to third. And the Red Sox have tied it at 5-5.
Good job by Bradley. I mean, obviously you want to get a base hit. You want to drive in a couple, but he gets 2 things accomplished. He gets the fly ball deep enough to get the run home, and he also gets the ability to get Holt over to third base with less than 2 outs. And the way that the center fielder Naquin caught this ball going back, it was an easy decision to tag up at second and go to third. I mean, he had no chance on the way he played that ball.
So the Sox have the go-ahead run 90 feet away. That's all for Detweiler, and we have more from Cleveland coming up. By Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Boston Red Sox have battled back to tie this game 5-5 against Detweiler and company. Of course, it was Chris Young just scoring that tying run, tagging up in the sacrifice by Jackie Bradley. Young reaching on a fly ball that should have been caught.
Absolutely should have been caught, and it was, I think, the inexperience of Naquin, the center fielder, not taking charge on that ball, and that was a huge break for the Red Sox.
So McAllister coming out of the bullpen, a right-hander, very tough last year in 61 appearances. So they used him a lot. 4-4 with an ERA of 3. And Mookie Betts will climb in with runners at first and third and only one man out. The Red Sox trying to take the lead for the first time in the game. Mookie is 0 for 3. Chopper, the runner holding at third. Uribe gunning. Now he comes home, and there will be no play at the plate. Brock Holt with some tremendous base running, and the Red Sox have the lead 6-5.
Oh, that's really, really good base running there. Excellent base running by Brock Holt, because what he can do, if you watch this again, he can follow Uribe in. Watch Uribe have to come in to make the play on this. Now Holt can follow him in. Once he sees him set up for first base, he's gone. And there's no chance at all. So you creep behind the guy that's going to make the play. You get yourself about 4 or 5 more steps and you score without a problem.
This is by far my favorite inning of the year. I mean, the way this inning has come together with the home run power, you know, getting that run in to tie it, and that was a gift. But think about Jackie Bradley with some very smart hitting with the bases loaded. And how about the cagey base running here by Brock Holt?
That was very good. Very, very good.
A lot of smart baseball in this inning for the Red Sox. Here's Pedroia with a man at second base and 2 down, trying to add on now. And Petey looks at one inside. A good night with a double and a single. He's 2 for 3. 291 with 12 homers in a shortened season last year. Swihart, the runner, at second base. Red Sox have surged into the lead here in the second game of the season. And across for a called strike. One of the things you and I talked about often during spring training was one of the failings of last year's Red Sox early in the year was situational hitting.
Yes.
And in this inning, we're seeing, I think, a lot of what John Farrell and Chili Davis were talking about all through the spring and kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, we saw this develop with about a week and a half left in spring training in a number of games that they played.
Line shot off the glove of Napoli. Has to find it now, play it first. The slide, and he is out at first base. So that will retire the side. Well, it started with a bang, didn't it? David Ortiz, number 505. Moments later, Hanley Ramirez with a blast. The Red Sox would add on 2 more runs, and they have the lead 6-5. Red Sox and the rest of America run on Dunkin', because Dunkin' iced coffee is consistently smooth and delicious. Dunkin' Donuts coffee started right here in Boston, the #1 coffee in New England. The Boston Red Sox run on Dunkin'. David Ortiz got it going, as he has so many times, and then Hanley Ramirez, the big smile, back-to-back home runs. Couple of changes now for the Red Sox defensively. Chris Young was a big part of that rally with that double that fell in. Luckily, he's now in left field. And Brock Holt moves from left field over to third base, where Travis Shaw is done for the night. Long way to go yet. Only the bottom of the 6th inning, but the Red Sox just put up 4 and have taken a 6-5 lead. Noe Ramirez staying on, and that one ripped down the line, but he hooked it too much. And a noisy strike by Yan Gomes. Well, Jerry, an awful lot happened in that inning, and it was all good for the Red Sox.
Yeah, a lot of action, all types of baseball. You know, the long ball, small ball, running run is over. Just a lot of good stuff going on for the Red Sox in that inning, and it had been dead prior to that inning.
It really had been. Gomes is 0 for 2. He has flied to right and struck out. And Clay Buchholz is off the hook. Looked like he was on his way to a possible defeat. Lasting only 4 innings officially tonight, giving up 5 runs. That's a ball inside. And Robbie Ross Jr., the left-hander, begins to loosen, so the bullpen is going to be required in a major way in this one. And again, a little light rain. Waved at and missed. Man, did he pull the string on that one, and the count is 2-2.
That's a very good changeup by Noe Ramirez. Not known very much for his changeup. It's basically fastball slider, but he pulled the string on this one.
Two, a check, and it's inside.
Tried the changeup again, tried to double up on it, but that time going inside with it.
Marlon Byrd on deck, and then Uribe, the scheduled hitters for Terry Francona. And the 3-2. Cracked foul. Red Sox looking to grab 2 victories in the first 2 days. And the bullpen is going to have to be sharp. It certainly was yesterday in the sunshine here in Cleveland. But if anything, Craig Kimbrell was a little over-amped in a non-save situation. The 3-2 coming. He wouldn't chase it. It's outside, ball 4. So certainly not what Noe Ramirez wanted to do after getting 4 runs.
No, after a number of pitches inside to Yan Gomes, he tries to go to the outside corner to pick up the strikeout and just miss the outside part of the plate.
Ace Ticket, Boston's trusted source for Red Sox tickets, has the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway with a 200% guarantee. Treat yourself or someone special by visiting aceticket.com or by calling 1-800-MY-SEATS. We'll bring up Marlon Byrd, who was grounded out, popped up. 1 on, nobody out in the 6th. That'll be a strike.
Ramirez right now has to focus on the bottom of that strike zone, try to induce a ground ball double play. He's got a pretty good sinker. Keep it down low.
Little looper over first down the line and right on the chalk for a base hit. Into third base will be Gomes, and he'll stop there. Marlon Byrd just dropped it down that line.
Well, you know, Ramirez got the pitch where he wanted it. He got it down, but somehow Byrd is able to inside out that pitch just in fair territory down the right field line. That ball's inside. I don't know how he's able to float that one in a right field for a base hit. So that quickly, back come the Indians in a 1st and 3rd situation.
That didn't take long. Uribe will be next. He is grounded to short and fly to center. 0 for 2 tonight. And nobody out, and here come the Indians. Uribe, a guy who has been around. He's now 37. Played for 7 big league teams. is described as a manager's best friend. He helped run the White Sox clubhouse under the, shall we say, unpredictable Ozzie Guillen when they won the World Series in 2005 in Chicago. Fly to dead away center, hit well enough. Jackie backing up, still backing up. The wind took it, got all the way to the warning track. Tagging up now Gomes, and he is in as the throw comes back in. They hold the runner at first base, but this game is tied. But that really got up into that wind current. It was going to be deep enough anyway. And all even 6-6.
Yeah, it just kept going and going and going and going, and all of a sudden you're thinking, wait a minute, maybe this is going to get out of the ballpark. You can see how Bradley started to back up and then had to turn around to go back to make that catch.
Noe Ramirez reminded that nothing good ever comes of a leadoff walk, which is how that run was produced. Yan Gomes tagging up from third base. So it is a 6-6 game. And Robbie Ross Jr. will make an appearance, the left-hander out of the Red Sox bullpen. And he will become the next Red Sox reliever. It's going to be one of those nights you have to patch it together and keep on scoring.
Yeah, the Red Sox got to get through this 6th inning without any more runs given up. Then they get into the real strong part of their bullpen after that.
And Terry Francona is going to counter this move and bring on Rajai Davis, and he will hit for the rookie Naquin, who's had an interesting night. He had his first major league hit, his first big league run, but also had a lot of trouble with the ball last inning that fell in. And the Red Sox in the 2nd inning. Brock Holt getting on the board with a 2-run shot.
And in the 6th inning, David Ortiz leading off with a home run. And that'll be followed by Hanley Ramirez going to the opposite field for back-to-back home runs for the Red Sox. Jackie Bradley Jr. with a sacrifice fly to center field. Chris Young comes in to score. And then Mookie Betts, the ground ball. Uribe comes in. Brock follows him in. Brock Holt, and he comes in to score what at that time was the go-ahead run. Uribe just ties it up with a long fly ball to center field.
So we are dead even. And Robbie Ross Jr. going through his warm-up tosses. Terry Francona will bring up Rajai Davis. Robbie, a key man last year in the bullpen when it mattered. Unfortunately for the Red Sox, it didn't matter that often come the second half of the season, but he had some very strong outings. He wound up at 0-2 with a .386 ERA in 54 appearances. Out of Lexington, Kentucky. One man out in the inning. Runner at first base for Cleveland. Davis had a rough day on opening day yesterday. He was 0 for 4, struck out 3 times. Davis, a Connecticut native, a graduate of New London High School in Connecticut. Checked his swing and he fouled it away. Incidentally, congratulations for the 11th time to the UConn women basketball team. Another national championship last night, the 11th for the great Gino Auriemma.
Well, they just cruised through that tournament too, didn't they?
They are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Undefeated. 4 consecutive national titles. There's a high deep drive to right field. Betts back, turning, still turning, finds it now. He leaps and makes the catch. Bird has to hustle back into first base.
You know, we talked, Dave, about the athleticism of Mookie Betts, and that was a good example of it right there, because he got spun every which different way and finally ends up making the catch. There he turns one way, now he's going to turn back the other way and goes back to the wall to make the catch.
And a reaction by Davis. I thought he did more with that. Here's Lindor. The switch hitter batting right-handed. He's gone 0 for 3 in this one. 2 down, tied 6-6. And what has been a fascinating ball game.
Yeah, this has been a much different game than game 1 of the season.
Yes, completely pitching dominated, certainly on the Red Sox side with 15 strikeouts. Into the dirt. Swihart couldn't find it, but the runner Bird is not going to advance. And Blake finally picked it up.
See, for me, that's not a good read by the guy at first base, Bird, because when you see a ball that's kind of bouncing in the dirt like that, I'm a believer. You know, if you read it correctly, you should take off at second base, because very rarely is that catcher going to come up clean with it.
1-1 line shot slicing into the corner, but that'll be a foul ball. Lindor with a very live bat. And now you really have to wonder by this hour of the game, about 10 till 9, are we going to see a front come in? Because that was the prediction.
Right.
We're going to see some rain at some point tonight.
Well, it is raining a little bit now.
Is this as hard as it's going to get? Certainly hope so. Here comes the 1-2 from the left-hander. Down into the dirt. Again, he couldn't locate it, but again, Bird has to scoot on back to first base.
I can't believe Bird is still standing at first base. I mean, the potential go-ahead run, he should be standing on second base right now. I'll say this for him. Sometimes the ball gets to this side here. You can't see it. The catcher's blocking it, so you don't know how far away it is from him. But in my opinion, he should be at second base.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, tied 6-6. As the Indians have tied the game in the last half of the 6th inning after the Sox got 4 to push ahead. Low again, but blocked this time by Blake. Both starters are now in the showers. This one is up to the bullpens. It's a full count on Lindor. You hang one to him, he can do damage with it. High chop to third, off the glove of Brock Holt. It'll stay on the infield, but everybody's going to be safe. Bird down to second base. That'll be an error. He was just in left field moments ago and had to come out to play third after the switch was made, and they're going to be safe at first and second.
Yeah, Brock Holt trying to charge this ball and play it on the in-between hop, as you can see right there, but it caromed right off the heel of the glove. Red Sox not doing much to help themselves in this inning. They had the leadoff walk, and now with 2 outs, they have the error here on Brock Holt.
That is the first error in the game for either side. A mound visit for Carl Willis. He's on the clock. New this year, they have 30 seconds to make the visit and get off the hill. That's a new rule. Umpires this year may also use instant replay to place base runners on boundary calls, which they couldn't do before, to decide where the base runner should be, unlike an interference, a fan interference. Matt Barnes now throwing in the bullpen. Ross trying to get out of the 6th inning. A run is in to tie it. And now the Indians suddenly have the go-ahead run at second base. 2 men on. That's a strike. Ramirez with a good night. He has 2 singles. He's also lined out to third base softly. The 0-1 from Ross. 1 ball, 1 strike. It started with Ramirez. Noe Ramirez there walking the leadoff man. That was Gomes, and he would eventually come on in to score. The pitch. Fly to the right center. Jackie Bradley, Mookie Betts there, and Mookie will line it up to make the play and retire the side. The Indians battle back. They tie it. We go to the 7th. We're in a 6-6 knot here in Cleveland. Morning at 9 on Dining Playbook. Billy and Jenny come to you from a great Italian restaurant not located in the North End. Plus, they're joined by a special guest from the Celtics. Dining Playbook on Nesson, driven by your New England Chevy dealers. Rajah Davis staying in the game to play center field. And we are tied 6-6. Jerry Remy and Dave O'Brien with you. And a good part of the order here for the Red Sox to try and get back on top against McAllister. It'll be Bogaerts, Ortiz, and Ramirez. David Ortiz with his second home run in as many days, and Hanley Ramirez followed back-to-back in the 6th inning. He checked, and it's inside. Junichi Tazawa, who was impressive yesterday, is up and warming again. Xander in this one has walked, struck out, and hit into a fielder's choice. Comebacker up the middle. That's where Kipnis was. He gloves it and gets it. One man out. And Xander still looking for his first hit of 2016. Tomorrow at 5:30, don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live presented by DCU. Coverage of the special ceremony from Cleveland as the Indians pay tribute to David Ortiz. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? And here comes Big Papi again. He homered his last time, 1 for 3 tonight. He looks at a strike. The home run in the 6th inning got the Red Sox rally going. High fly center field. Davis had started back and now waits on it. They're 2 down. Boy, that wind I think is tough tonight.
Yeah, we're really seeing some strange plays by the outfielders tonight. On routine fly balls, they're having difficult time because of that wind blowing out. Thinks he's got it lined up, all of a sudden, whoops. Got to go back another step.
Hanley Ramirez homered his last trip. He's 1 for 3. He's also grounded a pitcher and struck out. On base 3 times in the Sox win on opening day. The delayed opener yesterday. Ball 1.
Remember last April for Hanley, 10 home runs in the month of April.
Some mammoth clouts Line shot, base hit up the middle, but that's the Hanley Ramirez the Red Sox want to see.
Yep. That's a very good at bat. I mean, you know, the last two, obviously the home run is a great at bat. That is an excellent swing right back up the middle, not trying to do too much, not trying to pull the ball. Take what the pitcher gives you and rifle it right back up the middle. Now you see that time almost no leg kick at all by Hanley Ramirez. That's about as short a leg kick as you'll see him take. And what that does, in my opinion, it eliminates a lot of bobbing of the head, of the eyes. It's just nice and smooth. It smooths things out.
John Farrell's going to go to the bench now and bring on Pablo Sandoval, who lost his third base job to Travis Shaw. This will be the Pandas' first at bat of the season. See his numbers last year, very disappointing for him. Now in the second season of a 5-year contract. And he'll bat on the left side. He is back to switch hitting, but last year was easily the worst of his major league career. He'll take ball one. Played in 126 games. Played in just one of the last 17 because of pneumonia. Travis Shaw had a base hit back in the second inning tonight, so he has 3 hits in the early going. There goes Hanley. Cut on and missed. The throw down to second. It's dropped, and he's going to be safe with a stolen base. But he is running wild here early in the season.
I think that might have been a hit and run, you know, because Sandoval is a guy that can make contact on almost any type of pitch. And that ball's away from him, but Hanley just beats it out at second base. So Lindor never had the handle on a baseball.
Now Hanley went first to third on a play yesterday that shocked everybody, including Brian Butterfield. So the Panda with a chance. This one's going to get away, and there goes Hanley on to third base. So the Red Sox have the go-ahead run just 90 feet away as that one got away from Gomes. Wild pitch.
Yeah, had to cross over that time and try to backhand that ball. Couldn't do it, and Ramirez moves up another bag.
So Pablo Sandoval can put the Red Sox in the lead again here in the 7th inning. There are 2 out, and the 2-1. And he fights that one back foul, 2-2. You know he loves to swing the bat. He only walked 25 times all last year. Pablo, a 2-time All-Star. And of course a World Series hero. He's been spectacular in the postseason. 2-2. Hanley Ramirez at third. Another one fought back on the swing by the Panda.
Got underneath that fastball that time. That ball just about just above the strike zone, and underneath the fastball fouls it straight back.
Sandoval, a .288 career hitter, but he hit .330 for the Giants in 2009, .315 in 2011. Two again. Line shot, Davis to his right, and he'll make the play to retire the side. So the Red Sox get a man to third, but strand him there. The 7th inning, it's 6-6. 6 tie. Time now to vote on what you want Jerry to talk about tonight on NESN Sports Today. Clay Buchholz's start, the Red Sox 6th inning, or Hanley's new swing. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. One message per vote. Visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and the privacy policy. Look at that. That 6th inning. Out in front. Oh, wait a minute.
Things change quickly in this.
They sure do. Junichi Tozawa will come on and pitch. It has changed very quickly in this game, including the score. We are dead even in the last of the 7th inning. And for a while, it looked like the Sox bats were going to be dead tonight, but they really woke up with 4 runs in that 6th inning, highlighted by the back-to-back home runs by David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez. Tozawa worked a very strong inning yesterday on what turned out to be the season opener. 1 inning and struck out 2. Couple of defensive changes. Brock Holt goes back to left field, so he's got left field to third base, back to left, and Pablo Sandoval takes over at the hot corner. And the leadoff man of the inning will be Jason Kipnis, who's doubled. He's also walked twice, so the Sox have yet to retire him. 6 runs on 9 hits for the Red Sox, 6 runs on 7 hits for the Indians. And the first one to Kipnis is wide for ball 1.
There again, Tozawa starting off a hitter with a curveball. He does that an awful lot.
The right-hander from Japan with the 1-0 pitch. And in there for a strike.
Back-to-back curveballs from Tozawa. See, he doesn't throw that many of them. Mostly fastballs and that split-fingered fastball that we call a changeup.
One to Kipnis. Hammers that. A liner. Jackie coming on. Makes the catch. Got a very good jump on it. 1 man out. 2016 CVS Health Charity Classic features more than the nation's top golfers. Don't miss the Charity Classic benefit concert featuring Grammy award-winning Lady Antebellum at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence on June 28th. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com/Charity Classic Fenway. Mike Napoli now. He has walked, grounded out, and hit into a double play. You and I were talking about the new rule at second base on what is a legal slide. Last night, an illegal slide actually cost Toronto the ball game against Tampa Bay. They wound up splitting that series, incidentally, with the Rays. That'll be the next stop for the Sox. They go to Toronto on Friday. I know that what baseball is trying to do is make players safe because of what happened with Chase Utley breaking the leg of an infielder last year. That was such a gruesome play. But I also get what you're saying about the tradition of hard-nosed baseball. You're talking about clean baseball, hard-nosed baseball.
Exactly. You know, Dave, there is an intimidation factor at second base for middle infielders when you know there are guys that are going to, and there are certain guys you know that are going to be coming in there hard all the time. And those kind of guys can change a game.
That'll be a swing and a miss by Napoli, now 1-2.
You know, they can force you to make a bad throw just knowing that they're coming in there. And any kind of contact at all, you know, can win a ball game for you. So that's why I'm not crazy about the new rule. It protects the second baseman and shortstop. I understand that. But I think these guys have, you know, that internal clock going all the time where they know when they're going to get hit.
It really is remarkable how they can avoid it, too. 1-2 on the way. That's down low. And you knew the reputation of the base runner.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there were certain players. I knew when George Brett was out there. I knew when Hal McRae was out there. I'm going to get my lunch at second base. I knew it. But, you know, that can affect the way you play. That's an intimidation factor around that bag.
2-2 on Mike Napoli. Santana on deck. Tied up 6-6 in the 7th. High deep drive into left field. Racing back, Brock Holt. He turns, and it's out of here. And this game is no longer tied, and Mike Napoli has made it 7-6 Cleveland. Astros of the Red Sox 2013 team. Maybe a hero tonight for the Indians. A long way to go yet, but he has untied it.
That's a bad split-fingered fastball there by Tazawa. That was a hanging split. Watch the location of this pitch. I mean, it just stays about belt high for Napoli, and that's not where you want that. You want that down around the ankles. Napoli did not miss that mistake.
This is his second career at bat against Tazawa, and he deposits that one into the seats. Indians on top 7-6, and Santana, who's already homered and doubled, will get in here. Barnes is back up for the Red Sox bullpen. So the Sox are trailing again in a wild seesaw affair here at Progressive Field. They were down 4-0. And then 5-2. And then the Red Sox battle back to take the lead 6-5. The Indians would tie it. And now they're back out in front. And the 2-0. He wailed and missed.
That home run for Napoli was the 16th career home run he's had against the Red Sox.
I remember a lot of those when he was with Texas.
Texas Rangers, yep.
He always seemed to hit big home runs against the Sox then. And a lot of us were delighted when he put on a Red Sox uniform. That's in there for a strike, a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Some big ones for the Sox, too. We are in the 7th inning here in Cleveland. Santana blasted a 3-run homer in the first inning against Clay Buchholz, who has long since departed this one. Clay was only on the hill for 4 innings tonight. But he'll have no decision. 10,298 attending tonight. The forecast was not good, but we have not had a moment's delay here. Tazawa with a 3-2. Little dribbler foul. And tomorrow night, 6:10, Joe Kelly against Danny Salazar, a right-hander. More weather trouble ahead for tomorrow, but we'll see. There was certainly today, and this game has been played in its entirety, although it was delayed about 15 minutes. The 3-2 again. Foul ball on the ground.
That time a little better split from Tazawa, not a hanger. That one was down a little in the zone a little bit more, and the result, the ground ball, foul ball. One in Napoli did not dip down deep enough.
Yan Gomes on deck. One out in the inning, bases empty. Big overshift to the right for the Red Sox. And that is inside. He walked it. So Santana draws a walk. He's been on base 3 times. You know, the 2016 season is underway. Be sure to download the Sox schedule directly into your favorite desktop, web, or mobile calendar program. Visit NESN.com/schedule and download today. Out comes John Farrell. So he's about to make a pitching change. That is it for Tazawa. That gives up the home run to Mike Napoli. Matt Barnes will be next, and we'll continue with more from Cleveland in just a moment. It's only lasted 4 innings plus 1 batter. David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez went back-to-back in the 6th inning to bring the Red Sox back. Carrasco 5 innings on the hill as the starter for Cleveland. Mike Napoli just hit the go-ahead home run. And Santana's had a good night, 2 for 3. Matt Barnes now out of Danbury, Connecticut. Mike Napoli ponders a big moment for himself. See if it holds up, though. Barnes, the right-hander, getting a chance to get in here. 3 and 4 last year in 32 appearances, including 2 starts. He can throw hard. He can get it up to 95, 96.
Yeah, one of the things they wanted Barnes to work on in the offseason is his breaking ball. We know he has good velocity, but they want him to be able to throw that breaking ball and hit his counts. And he certainly worked on that during spring training, was fairly effective with it.
He becomes the 4th Red Sox relief pitcher because of the short outing of Clay Buchholz. Santana just took ball 4, so Yan Gomes will stride on up to hit now. Here in the last half of the 7th inning, and the Indians in front 7-6. It's been back and forth here. Gomes has flied to right, struck out, walked, and scored a run. The catcher from Brazil. One man out, and Matt Barnes ready to deal. Back in Santana. Gomes was hurt last April. He missed about 6 weeks. And they really missed him. He can hit for power. He looks at a strike at 93. Gomes' father-in-law is the former major league pitcher Atlee Hammaker. Remember Atlee Hammaker?
Yeah, I do.
You remember the grand slam he gave up to Fred Lynn in the 1983 All-Star game?
I do.
I can get nothing by you.
All I got to say is I do.
I keep trying. Right. Liner toward right center. Jackie closing on it. Dives and he hangs on to make the play. Back to first goes Santana. JBJ with his first gem of the early season.
And that's a huge play for the Red Sox, because if that ball gets by Jackie Bradley Jr., it may run for a while, but he goes into that dive. He's able to make the catch before the ball hits the grass. Once the glove hits the grass, he holds onto it in that big webbing. Nice play by Bradley Jr.
So that's play number 1 on his Gold Glove reel, which the Red Sox would love to build and build throughout the summer. That's a huge second out. Brings up Marlon Byrd, who's gone 1 for 3 with a single. Cleveland ahead 7-6. Across for strike 1. Sox have due up in the 8th inning. Brock Holt, Blake Swihart, and Jackie Bradley. And Barnes with the 0-1 pitch. He snuck that one over the corner, according to Bill Welke.
It's one of the few pitches that have been outside the strike zone tonight that have been called a strike. What a line pitch right there. Welke's strike zone much tighter than the one yesterday from Hirschbeck.
Now eyeing a strikeout of Marlon Byrd. And he gets it on the outside corner for strike 3 at 95. And that retires the side. Jackie Bradley with a wonderful play. We go to the 8th. semifinal presented by Plain Ridge Park Casino. TC, Dennis Eckersley, Steve Lyons will preview Joe Kelly's start tomorrow against the Indians. He's been pitching very, very well through spring training and now ready for the real thing. They'll have highlights from the Blue Jays and Rays game as well. Well, this one goes to the 8th inning. Cleveland on top 7-6. Jerry Remy, Dave O'Brien alongside. Colin Cowgill now goes into the game at right field for Terry Francona. And Brian Shaw, the 28-year-old from California, will take over on the hill. Very tough to hit last year, a 2.95 ERA in 74 appearances out of their bullpen.
Yeah, very impressive 242 batting average, 54 strikeouts on the season.
Brock Holt will test him. Brock has not been retired tonight. A 2-run homer single and a walk. And he has scored 2 of the Red Sox 6 runs. Swihart next, then Jackie Bradley, who just made an outstanding play diving in right center. Sox in need of a base runner here in the 8th inning, and fouled off the catcher. Seven runs on 8 hits for Cleveland, 6 runs on 9 hits for the Red Sox, and that includes 3 home runs for Boston tonight. Brock has 1. David Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez went back-to-back in the 6th inning. But the Red Sox came from behind to score 4 times. And that fastball misses. Sean, his 3rd season of very good work in their bullpen. And he is used often. Off the outside. It did miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Terry Francona, 11 consecutive winning seasons between the Red Sox and the Indians. Rattled a little roller, and he's got to get out of the box, but it's foul. And had a chance to take a left-hand turn and come back fair.
A little tap down that first base line. Brock Holt deciding I better run because looks like it might come back into fair territory. But continues to roll foul, and if it did come back and it was picked up, Holt would have been safe at first base.
Shaw with a 2-2 to the shortstop. Lindor has a very good arm, and that's out number 1 in the 8th for the Red Sox.
Yeah, he looks pretty slick out there, doesn't he? Very quick release on that ground ball. Had Holt going down the line, and well, it's like the ball didn't even touch his glove. Right there, and just a quick release to first base. Good strong throwing arm, and gets Holt by a running step.
They think he can compete for a Gold Glove. Terry Francona loves his attitude. Very gregarious kid. So 1 man out, and here comes Blake Swihart. He's gone 0 for 2 with a walk in this one. Red Sox trailing by a run in the 8th inning. Jackie Bradley, the on-deck hitter. Red Sox winners on opening day yesterday, 6-2. This has been a very different kind of game. First of all, not nearly as many strikeouts. Red Sox pitching staff struck out 15 Indians yesterday. That is the most on opening day for a Red Sox pitching staff in 103 years. When you start knocking around a century, Jerry, that's a long time.
Yes, it is a long time, and I am knocking around a century.
The swing and a miss by Blake Swihart. I'm not fine behind you. Not too far. One and two, 1 out, bases empty. 7-6 Indians. Line drive sinking into left. Ramirez will close and make the play. Pretty good swing by Blake Swihart, but nothing to show for that, and there are 2 down in the inning.
That's a frustrating at bat. I mean, you know you hit the ball well. You hit solid contact, a line drive, but it's right at somebody, and You can say, well, you swung the bat well and all that, but you want results.
Jackie tonight with a strikeout, a ground out, and he's also driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. That was back in the 6th inning, his first RBI of the season. And one went around the plate for ball 1. A do-over shift with 3 men on the right side. Kipnis, the second baseman, is the man in the shotgun. Two-way. Jackie finds the hole on the other side. He's got himself a 2-out single.
Well, that's one way to change the shift. Take the ball to the opposite field. And it kind of surprised me a little bit that they didn't have Uribe a little bit farther towards shortstop. And it's almost like they're expecting Jackie to bunt down that third base line. Then when they get a strike on him, they push Uribe back. Well, this time, no bunt, just a base hit right to shortstop. And normally, if there were 2 strikes on Jackie, that's where Uribe would be playing.
That's right. That's just a ground ball to short.
Yep.
But a base hit brings up Mookie Betts, who crushed the home run yesterday. Just outside for ball 1. Mookie has struck out, lined to center, grounded to second, and grounded to third that drove in a run in the 6th inning. Belted the 2-run home run yesterday in the opener. Jackie diving back in safely. Back to that home run swing.
Again, you get Betts getting that fastball inside and very quickly put the Red Sox on the board yesterday, and much colder temperatures than tonight.
That's right, it was 34 degrees. The wind chill was more like 25. A strike. 1-1. Cleveland 7, Red Sox 6. We're in the 8th inning. And the 1-1 to Mookie. Missed badly. Good backhand stab there by Gomes.
And Gomes trying to fake Bradley out of first base too. After he made that catch on the backhand, he looked toward the backstop to try to act like the ball got by him, hoping to catch Bradley at first base going to second. Watch Gomes after he makes this catch. He's going to take a look back like he didn't know where it was. He's got it the whole time.
Bradley was not biting. 2 down in the 2-1. Foul ball, a little trickler. Koji Uehara now loosening up in the bullpen. Mookie's uncle Terry Shumpert played for the Red Sox in 1995. Another uncle, George Wilson, was a free safety for the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans of the NFL. So Mookie's athletic lines are well established. He was a terrific high school basketball player in Tennessee. Tried to check, but he went, and that is strike 3, and the side is retired. 1 man left. We're off to the last of the 8th. Still 7-6 Cleveland. outbound. And here's a look. Clay Buchholz start running slightly ahead right now, but certainly not all precincts have reported. And the Red Sox 6th inning is at 33%, and 32% Hanley's new swing, which you did a great job breaking down.
Thank you, Dave. And the exit polls right now very, very close.
Too close to call at this point. Last half of the 8th inning, and Barnes still on to pitch. He needs to keep it right where it is, 7-6. The Indians up a run. And the Red Sox will have due up in the 9th inning. Pedroia, Bogarts, and Ortiz. And the Indians with a very fine closer in Cody Allen. Uribe is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. He hammers a liner, but Bradley is backing up to make the play. Hit right at him, 1 man out. And Rajai Davis will be next. Red Sox have out-hit the Indians in this one 10-8, but they are trailing where it counts most, and that's in the run column. Junichi Tazawa allowing the go-ahead home run by Mike Napoli with 1 out in the 7th inning. It was not a cheapie. Napoli does not hit cheapies. Off the mitt. Ball 1 on Davis, who's only batted once tonight. He's 0 for 1 with a fly to right. Liner, and off the glove it looked like of Hanley Ramirez, and off into right field. So Davis will be on with a base hit.
Took a breaking ball to the opposite field that time. Looked like the curveball from Matt Barnes, and he slaps very hard off the glove of Hanley Ramirez. Now Davis has base stealing speed, and he's going to have to be watched very carefully over at first base with 1 out.
Yep, he could still run.
He has a couple of options here for Francona. Obviously the straight out steal, maybe a hit and run. A couple of things he can do with this combination.
Lindor 0 for 4. He has struck out 2 times. And now time called by the home plate umpire Bill Welke.
See what Bonds is trying to do there. Hold the ball a long time, trying to get Rajai Davis to stop any momentum going towards second base.
Sandoval in close at third base. And he'll throw over. Barnes again from the set. Davis is running. It's a strike. Here's the throw. It's off into center field. And Xander Bogaerts is slow to rise. It'll be a stolen base for Davis.
Now, you knew this was going to happen. You just didn't know on what pitch. And it took the no pitch as the first pitch for him to go. Now, Barnes uses a little bit of a slide step, but still he's big, he's tall, he's lanky, and it takes him a while to get the ball to home plate. That throw was rushed by Swihart. You see the collision at second base with Bogaerts getting his left shoulder involved. But the big thing is Davis at second base right now in scoring position with the 1 out.
Yeah, they clipped that left shoulder and spun him around. Pitch was a strike on Lindor. The Indians looking for some insurance run here in the 8th inning, and that one Luke foul out of play. Cleveland on top 7-6, 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. Lindor hit .350 last year with runners in scoring position. It brought him up last June. And he wound up hitting .313 with 12 home runs.
And you got to pay attention to Davis at second base because he's liable to take third. You can see Bogaerts in right behind him.
Barnes with a step off.
This puts you as a shortstop in a very uncomfortable situation because you have the responsibility with a left-handed hitter at the plate of keeping that runner close, but also not being caught out of position. Because you know Davis wants to take third base with one out.
Bogart's lining up right behind him. The 0-2 pitch, runner holding, a check swing, and it's downstairs. So to count 1-2. Cleveland jumped out in front 4-0 on Clay Buchholz in the first inning. And they would lead the thing 5-2 after 2 innings. Red Sox came storming back in the 6th with 4 runs. Had the lead for a bit, then it was tied for a while, and now they're in front by 1 on the Napoli homer, and that's inside. And the closer, Cody Allen, he's got a nasty hard knuckle curve and a mid-90s fastball. He can be very nasty. 2-2. A little bit low. And a full count here on Lindor.
Well, you see what speed does at second base too. It's got Xander Bogaerts out of position almost on every pitch because he's trying to hold that runner close, and it's very tough for him to get back into position.
Two pitch, and he walked it. So that'll put men at first and second for the Tribe in front of Jose Ramirez, who has a pair of hits tonight and is a good contact man. And there is speed on the bases here.
Right now, those signs being put down by Swihart. If there's a double steal where he's going to throw the ball, whether it be third base or to second base.
So Ramirez gets in with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the runners go. The throw down to third, the tag, he's out. Cut him down. Great toss by Swihart to Sandoval.
Yeah, and that is absolutely the right call by the Red Sox because you have the left-handed hitter at the plate, so it's a wide open throwing zone to third base. Now, is this going to be challenged?
No, I don't think so.
The Red Sox elect to go to third base. It's almost like a pitch out. And the throw to third base gets the runner. Well, it doesn't. Wow. To me, it looked like that hand was in.
Boy, on that angle, I agree with you, but they elected not to challenge. Runner down to second. And blue foul by Ramirez. 2 down.
That was kind of a no-brain option right there by the Red Sox to throw to third base. You know, if you throw to second base, you also got speed at first. But you've got the wide open track to third base because of the left-handed hitter. Now let's take another look at this, and I think the hand's in before the tag is on.
Yeah, you see Sandoval's left knee, but he got it inside that knee and onto the bag.
Yeah, he did. That's a break there for the Red Sox. Big break.
Deciding not to challenge on the Cleveland side. And no one's challenged anything tonight, so he had it. That's up high. 2 balls, 1 strike. Cleveland clinging to a 1-run lead, but the Red Sox will have due up in the 9th inning Pedroia, Bogaerts, Ortiz, and Ramirez if anybody reaches. 2-1 to Jose Ramirez. Right through it. Good giddy up on that fastball at 94. 2-2. Kipnis would be next. As he go back to number 1 here and ride it high. Foul tipped into the mitt for a strikeout at 95 to retire the side. The Sox coming up in the 9th. They need 1 to tie in Cleveland. pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. TC, Dennis Eckersley, and Steve Lyons will preview Joe Kelly's first start of 2016. You realize down the stretch last year, Joe Kelly went 8-0.
Yeah, and he continued at it with a very good spring training.
Oh, we are on to the 9th inning. We are puzzled as to why the Indians elected not to challenge that play at third base on the double steal, but it is interesting to note that with Terry Francona, he only had 25 challenges last year. That was the 5th fewest in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, that's surprising because it's a very close play, obviously, and you could see it clearly on our replay that the run of Davis was safe. He had that the glove hand, as you can see, the mitt on the bag right there, and then the tag by Sandoval,
and did not come off the bag.
No, he did
so
not.
It wasn't that, and a tag reapplied or anything. So let's see if it plays any role in the outcome of this one. Well, here comes their closer, and he's a very good one. Cody Allen, right-hander from Orlando, Florida, 34 saves last year, 2.99 ERA. But the Red Sox will send up 2, 3, and 4. Pedroia will start it. Boston down a run here in the 9th inning. And what has been a very entertaining night here in Cleveland. Not that many have seen it locally, about 11,000 in the seats, but we've been very entertained.
This has been an interesting game. There's no question about that. A lot of things going on.
Well, Pedroia would like a few more to go on. He has doubled and singled, 2 for 4 tonight. High fly to right, but it won't carry. Cowgill backing up, makes the play. So 1 man out in the Boston 9th. Bogarts will be next. Xander took a pretty good hit down there at second base on that play.
Yeah, a little bit worried about his shoulder, but apparently everything okay.
Well, tonight 0 for 3. So he is 0 for 8 on the young season. This would be a dynamite time to ring up that first hit. 1 out in the 9th inning. Red Sox trailing by a run. Strike 1 at 94.
Yeah, pretty good velocity there at 94 miles an hour.
It's a very good Cleveland pitching staff. Better than maybe it has shown here these first couple of days of the season. He waves and misses.
Wow, that's pretty nasty right there. That's a hard curveball.
Late breaking. The 0-2 pitch to Xander. Got the same pitch, and down he goes, strike 3.
Yeah, that's a very difficult pitch to hit right there because it's so hard and it breaks so much. It's very tough to pick up. Very tough to pick up.
Here's Big Papi yesterday in the 9th inning to open up that 6-2 lead, and earlier tonight in the 6th with a solo shot. So he's homered twice the first 2 days of the season in this his last season. Serving notice he means to go out with a bang. But the Sox may be down to their last man here. 2 down, 9th inning, 7-6 Cleveland. Fouled away for strike 1. David leaving nothing in the bag on these swings. With the 0-1. A little bit high according to home plate umpire, but looked like a pretty good pitch. 1-1. Andy Ramirez would hit next. Into the dirt. 2 balls, 1 strike.
That's that hard breaking a ball again by Allen. That time too low.
mentioned that hard knuckle curve that goes straight down. Nobody on base, 2 down. Red Sox needing a big fly to tie. Inside. So David has the count his way. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, Cody Allen's going to be saying, look, I haven't thrown one out of the strike zone yet the count is 3-1.
Let's see if he gives him something to drive here. Fly into left field, backing up. Ramirez still backing up, and at the wall, he makes the play. He caught it with a bit of a snow cone, and the ball game ends on that play. How about that? Well, it was that kind of game. 7-6 the final. The Indians quite literally hang on and win it. David Ortiz taking it all the way to the wall.
Yeah, that ball traveled a little bit farther than I thought it was going to, and I think that Ramirez thought it was going to travel, and a little bit of a snow cone as he goes up against that left field wall to make the catch.
Now the Red Sox made a heck of a comeback tonight from 5-2 down to take the lead at 1 point, but Cleveland hangs on for the victory at a final score of 7-6, even though the Red Sox out hit them 10-9 and hit 3 home runs. Brock Holt, David Ortiz, and Hanley Ramirez. A time of game 3 hours and 29 minutes. We did have a 12-minute delay tonight, but played throughout. Now they're going to tarp that diamond. We're going to hope to play tomorrow. Again, your final as the Indians even up the series in 1 game apiece. Cleveland 7 and the Red Sox 6. For my partner Jerry Remy, I'm Dave O'Brien. Let's go back to the studio now and Tom Caron.